Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome, Arvanauts. Welcome, everybody, to a Tuesday stream. It is June 21st, 2022, 12:37 p.m. Eastern, roughly speaking, in the year of our Lord, Anno Domini, etc., etc. And I hope everyone is doing well and looking forward to day 41 of Adventures in Middle-earth, Erebor Adventures, Sleeping Dragons Lie. I hope everyone is doing well and excited for our session today. I am certainly excited for the session today. And before I go any further, just a couple of reminders about ways to help us here in the channel. If you haven't done so already, please follow our channel. Please check out our YouTube and subscribe to us over there. That is free to do, but you can see all the past broadcasts of this and other streams. That's at !ArvTube. !ArvCord is the Discord channel where you can hang out with the Arvanauts in between streams. And !ArvTweets is the Twitter. Excuse me. Is the Twitter where I can cough into the microphone. But no, more importantly, where you can follow me when I post stuff about going live and other things. At the moment, it's been a whole lot about Gray Shade, and I'll talk more about that in just a second. But normally it isn't like that. And then Gray Shade, see, I got it on the brain. Then arvaneleron.com is the website. On the financial side, !Arv Shop is our merchandise area. !Arv Treon is the Patreon, where you can support the channel. That really is the financial backbone of the channel, makes it possible to do videos like the ones you just saw and stuff like that. So that stuff is always appreciated. Arv Treon for that. And then subbing to the channel, of course, is always a great thing to do, and we really appreciate it if people can support us over there, get those custom sub badges and emotes, and you can also get inspirations to help the players there as well as on the Patreon. On the publishing side, Icarus is our award-winning graphic novel from Athos Arts. Library is Tales and Tomes from the Forbidden Library, our 5e adventure and sourcebook from Alligator Alley Entertainment, and I will talk more about that other publishing project in just a moment. And as always, BLM, Black Lives Matter, very important to affirm and assert the significance and importance of Black lives. Help Now, the World Health Organization page on suicide prevention, very important to reach out to others when you need help and to reach out to others when they need help as well. And Ukraine, Ukraine, which is really helpful to be able to help the people of Ukraine as they continue to fight against an illegal and illegitimate war which has devastated their country and the people of that country. They are fighting back bravely, but they also need help from us, and so jumping on board with that would be appreciated with Ukraine. And last but certainly not least, the thing that we have been focusing on a lot and will continue to do so, it has now been 1 week since we launched our Gray Shade Kickstarter. As you can see, we have made excellent progress. We have 7,588 right now, 107 backers, and we have 24 days to go. That is a great start, and we're very pleased about it. However, we do have a long way to go. 25,000 is the minimum goal, and again, we really would love to be able to get above that so that we can bring you even other cool stuff. So we really need help in spreading the word. If you have been waiting to back, please don't. We could use your backing now. We could definitely use you spreading the word right now, because again, this all helps with algorithms and with letting folks know about the project. And so again, tweets, retweets, especially retweets with a little sentence in there. So it's a quote tweet is much better even than a retweet if you can. Just anything like that is super helpful. And spreading the word to various social media networks that you know of using the hashtag Gray Assassin is super helpful as well. So we can keep them all consistent and kind of track how things are going down. And we're going to have a special thing relating to that, actually, that I'm going to talk about in just a moment. I will say, schedule-wise, we've got Adventures in Middle-earth now. Then at 4:15 p.m. today, I will be over at Pen and Pixels, I should say GOG.com, with my show, Pen and Pixels, playing Talisman Adventures, sponsored as always by Pegasus Spiele. And then tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern, we will have a very special session of the Our Vocalists. We will have Zach Clay with us as always. We will have Little Red Dot with us as always, but we will have a special Our Vocalist appearance from Little Arv. My daughter is going to be joining us, and so I am very excited about that, and you will get a chance to hear her work. It's going to be on a different game than Planescape Torment, as is appropriate for a more, lighthearted thing, let's say. So we're going to be doing another game besides Planescape Torment this evening, but that'll be happening tonight, so stay posted for all of that. Now, before we go any further, let me unmute myself here. Apologize to anyone I may have inadvertently interrupted as I was in the process of doing this. Then let me unmute them. And, Oh my goodness. Oh, hang in there, Triffid. Yeah, that sucks. I've felt that exact experience, so I know how that feels. Please keep us posted on that. And I'm going to head on over to reveal the incredible Adventures of Middle-earth crew that you can see is before us. They are prepared and ready, and you can also see that I have a guest star with me today. You might have heard of my daughter previously. But my daughter is here for a special purpose that I will explain to the party and others in just a moment. But I want to say hi to all of them, and I will say before they introduce themselves, I want to say that because we have the Gray Shade thing going right now, I tried to do this as well for Eberron, and I want to do this for this crew as well. If we get to 8,000 today, so we're at 7,588. If we can get to 8,000 today, and if we can add another 3 backers, so basically 8,110 backers, 2 things will happen. The first thing that will happen is that the party is going to get a bit of valuable information. And in fact, if we were to do, let's say, 8,500, I might even consider dropping the dragon hunt score to indicate the fact that the dragon has been distracted, as many of us are, by Greyshade and his work. We will see. And before all of you are like, that seems completely outside the game, I run the game, y'all. So this is what we're doing. So that's the first thing that will happen. So that's to the benefit of the players. So I'm sure you want to help these lovely people. The second thing is, if we hit 8,000 and that 110 backers, then my daughter here, who is an artist and who is in the Regional Center for the Arts now, very exciting thing that she's gone to. Anyway, it's very cool. If we get to that 8,000 level, then my daughter, who will have been drawing steadily throughout the campaign, or throughout the session today, will do a custom picture. So and the way this will work is that we will have a drawing in chat, and the winner of the drawing in chat will be able to tell me, and I will then tell her, what custom picture you would like drawn. It could be of one of these 4 characters. It could be some cool event that happened in Adventures in Middle-earth. It could be something entirely unrelated. It could be something funny. And she will... Please don't ask for a carton of milk. Her biggest fear is that she'll get what she gets from her peers, which tends to be like, you can draw? Can I have a carton of milk or something? And she's like, what? Yeah, they kind of were a little bit overwhelmed.
Specific request.
Yeah, exactly.
Why a carton of milk? Like, you gotta have to explain that.
It's like...
Because they're proving that they're not Canadian. That's why.
They just, because they I think it's that they got overwhelmed, and these are mostly 8th graders, and they were like, I don't know, draw. And they like
online, so they had all the time they wanted to comment.
Oh, well, then I can't help you. Then I don't know. I don't know why they asked for carton of milk. Anyway, don't ask for carton of milk, but you can ask for anything else.
A carton of juice.
Yes, that's a whole different. So you can do that. So if we reach 8,000, there will be a special drawing for a custom piece of work, custom drawing. There'll be a drawing for a drawing.
Earlier,
drawing for a drawing from my lovely and amazing, awesome artist daughter. So that's what we've got going on. Just a little fun sort of incentive. But again, 110 backers and 8,000. That's only $412 from now, and 3 backers. So we should be able to do that. But please, if you can, please support the Kickstarter. There's a lot of folks who have a lot riding on it. So please help if you can. Now, with that said, I'm going to jump over to the wonderful players here, and I'm going to start with the gentleman top left of the square of 4 squares, and someone who is contributing to that Kickstarter by not only the voice that you hear on the Kickstarter video, which is incredible, but also the audiobooks that may be a part of this if we can continue to fund at a good level. So, Trent, it's good to see you. How is life in the universe with you? Are you still enjoying the somewhat more shorn beard? And who are you playing today? No.
First of all, I think I was like the 3rd person to back the Kickstarter as well, because I backed it as soon as it went live.
Yeah.
So not just my voice that's supporting.
No. If I believe that and I'm appreciative.
So my money, my delicious money. Don't eat money, kids. Money is filthy. Do not put it in your mouth. So I learned that the hard way with a penny. I was trying to prove to a friend of mine that money was filthy, and so I put a penny in my mouth, and like for the next week, I was sick. I was horrifically ill. And he was like, don't ever do that again. I'm like, no, you're supposed to learn from this lesson, not me. I know better.
I didn't need this lesson.
Why did you do it? Right, exactly. So What was I talking about? Nothing. The beard, right? So a long time ago, I got my electric trimmers and immediately lost all the little adapters that go on it. So basically, I have to trim it this short every time, and I hate it because if I turn my head, it like brushes against my thing. And RV and I were talking about this in Eberron, like with the beard. I put the mask on and it's kind of like sitting out away from my face, and then I shave it off and it's like under, and it's like and it's constantly riding up my chin whenever I talk. It's like the rough side of Velcro. It's just horrible. But it's June. I should probably shower. I mean, it's not April anymore, so it's fine. Anyway, I'm playing a bearded guy.
That's true, actually.
As opposed to the guy that I play in Eberron, who has a beard.
Or the guys that we de-bearded last session.
Right, de-bearded. Wow. You have been de-bearded.
Yeah, I can also wordsmith, yes.
Good stuff. Yeah, you can.
We need to,
never had any doubt of it.
Right. We need to steal something from Wallace and Gromit, and we just need to call all the dwarves Sean from now on. I love that thing. Anyway, right, I'm playing a guy named Thane Tonybear, the Hearthmender dwarf friend, who is a Thane and a Hearthmender, which makes it sound like he's a stonemason, but we don't have any stonemasons in this group. So, right, and he's a friend of dwarves, except for the ones that we just cut all their beards off. But yes, he is a healer. And a Beorning, so he's a big bearish man who used to beat the living crap out of people, and now he makes people feel better, unless they're the dwarves that we were just dealing with. So then he just lights their bacon grease sodden faces on fire.
Exactly. If you saw the last session, though, you will note that he is quite a healer, like a crazy good healer, especially when assisted by the gentleman that we're going to introduce in just a moment. I do want to say quickly, thank you, Rudinell, for the 41 months of support, and also hi to Wispy Song. So that person that we're talking about is Brad, of course. Good to see you, Brad. How is life in the universe with you? How you doing? How's all stuff happening in the world of Brad? And who are you playing today?
It's going well. It's busy at the moment, dealing with some tricky little website issues.
I'm partly responsible.
We'll get past them eventually. Life is going good. I'm like, I keep talking about like my progress in book one in my new series, and I'm probably like a week and change away, maybe like 7 to 10 days from finishing it, and I just cannot wait. I'm so sick of things feeling like the more I've written, the more feels undone, because I've added to the story, and there's things that I want to go back and fix because clarity has arrived now that I'm getting towards the end, and I have to set things up properly, and I can't. It's not time to go back. So there's tension building. The one of the main building blocks of fiction is building within me now, and so I want to get to that point.
There's tension on every Brad. Is that what I'm getting at from
your? So I'm just dying to get that done, and feeling like I can now that the clay is on the table, I can actually start shaping it properly. That will feel good. So in the meantime, though, I am playing a young hobbit. No longer excitable, somewhat worldly wise, and named Bolabros Took, who has no titles, who may gain one at some point, and is looking forward to maybe he's looking forward to getting to the other side of this journey across the waste and this encounter with a dragon.
Yes,
everyone has met but him.
Yes, I was going to say no one really looks forward to going into the waste. God knows, but getting out of the waste on the other side. But yeah, and also of course meeting a dragon, which is of course what his hero Bilbo has done. And now it has. I wonder if it's getting a little bit more. Yeah, I'm excited.
This isn't quite what I pictured.
A little more real than I planned.
Bilbo was telling me about it. Yeah.
But I am very excited to see how things go with Bolo, and
speaking of, by the way.
Let me see this thing. Oh, nice. Bag end. In a hole in the ground there lived a hobbit. That's sick. Where did you get that shirt?
On Oh, I got it at Comic-Con Chicago. Weta was there, who did a bunch of the like makeup and effects and stuff for the Lord of the Rings movies, and then they came up with all kinds of stuff after the movies came out, and this merch was one of the things.
Wow.
I got two. I got this one and another one with the Lonely Mountain in the like upper left of the shirt and stuff, and that one's cool too.
Oh, that's slick.
I actually might replace these at some point because they're getting a little bit worn, and I like them both still so much. So
that is slick. I'll have to check the. I see we've got Trent's got the Pride D&D thing. I have got my can confirm 20-sided die thing that I've got going on. So we've got and of
I
course
have some Finnish folk metal to offer. If that
Finnish folk
counts.
metal and a Mal who's actually following the brand. Yeah, following the brand.
No, that fits because the Kalevala is of course a huge inspiration for the lore of Middle Earth, as we know. So
yes, no, indeed.
the Kalevala being the national epic of Finland, which is mainly based on, as I learned the other day, Karelian folklore, actually.
And I have a pen.
The Adventures of Middle Earth pen. Yeah, we got all the AME stuff going on. Brad, thank you. It's a pleasure. I'm looking forward to see how Bolo handles things today, because all the crew is going to need to be, the party's going to need to be on their toes for this one. As we move up to the top right to reveal the incomparable, amazing Tari tunes, one of the other people involved in this Kickstarter, because it is, of course, Tari's design illustration that you will see on that Norse Foundry Founder's coin. The earlier you get it, the lower the number on the coin you get, which is pretty slick. And so you'll get to see all of that if this is supported at the level that it needs to be. So, Tari, how are you? How is, when not holding on to shirts with various metal, words on them, how else has life and the universe been, and who are you playing today?
Well, I just found out today that one of my favorite band shirts has a huge hole in it in the front, so I need to figure out how to fix that, because I had to ship that shirt all the way from the US to Europe. Which was not cheap.
Wow.
So I'm very, very cross about that. It's a Galacticon shirt. It's a very, very good, it's not a band. It's a dude.
It's a dude.
it's a single dude with some friends, but Galacticon, very good prog metal. Anyway, what is there to tell? Spent a lot of time at the library the past days. Because I learned that one of the local libraries has a huge collection of heraldic armorials, several dozen books of them, some of them several hundred years old, which is so nice to go through. So yeah, that's what I've been doing, because they have air conditioning, which nobody else in this neck of the woods has. So that was very good to just spend all day inside of a library.
Mm-hmm. I totally approve.
Yeah. Yes. It's so nice to have a nice library with just a lot of stuff. Most of the libraries I've been to in the past 10 years have been they are nice and tidy, but they also have way fewer books than I would like them to have. They have all these shelves that you can basically look over, and I'm like, what's the point if the shelves don't go all the way to the ceiling, right?
Yeah, exactly.
What you need storage, right? So yeah, that's what I've been doing. Also, just reading a lot about heraldry. But yeah, aside from that, I'm also playing in this game apparently. So I've been told.
That's the rumor.
And that's the rumor. The rumor of the Earth, which is one of my feats that my character has, actually, because she is a wanderer, and it's a wanderer feat. But yeah, her name her name and titles are Thane Inga Homefinder, daughter of Ida, and counsel of King Dain II. And despite what somebody else might have told you here, she is a stonemason. We do have a stonemason. Yes, I know, shocking twist. She barely gets to use that skill.
Wait a minute. A lot of Dale has been rebuilt thanks to that.
Let me finish my sentence. While we are being actively adventuring,
okay.
In the downtime phases.
Fair enough. Yes.
When she gets to work on stuff.
You've got an entire hall you could rebuild right now if you didn't want to go into the waste.
I mean, yeah.
Can you imagine the split adventure? All right, you three go. I'm going to rebuild Breck, and then it's this whole montage cutscene.
Well, she did send a letter back to Dale to inform her building crew to send over some people.
New plan. Let's just stay and rebuild this place because our hunt score keeps going up anyway. So the dragon is probably going to come to us eventually. Why not
Yeah,
have the
why
dragon
travel
come to
across
us
the waste?
in a semi-fortified location with some dwarves hanging
Nice.
out who we won't have to have traveled with, but who we can just kind of, have them be a first line
they're bait.
of defense.
Well,
They're
Like, you
bait.
guys-
You just put them out in the middle, like you tie them up and put them in a
Exactly.
pole in the middle of a field and wait.
well, here's
Yeah.
the thing, if the
Like
them in
the
the
goat
char
in
wreckage.
Jurassic Park.
Oh.
Just like that. Also, I mean, I don't know. I feel like, again, with the justice people, what if we said to Raynar, hey, what if instead of your acts of terror that you're committing, why not eat these dwarves?
I mean, you love dwarves.
You
right?
love dwarves, right? So just like these guys, we
How
even pre-sheared them for you. So you don't have to get
Pre-sheared.
the beard bits
I
into
love
your,
I love the idea that at the end of this you return to Dane and you're like, so we didn't defeat the dragon, but we did use a bunch of dwarves as bait, and then just let that sink in for just a minute. Just wait and see the reaction,
And when he starts to get angry, we're like, no, we shaved off their beards first.
Yeah,
It's not
exactly.
like-
At
it's not
that
like
point,
we
I
fed
just
them
take my
tiger
books. I'm like,
whiskers or
rip.
anything.
I'm like, so here's what happens next. Oh God. Tolkien spins 3 times in his grave. and-
Uh-huh. Counterclockwise.
yeah, exactly.
I mean, if you stay in the town to rebuild it, and then the dragon comes, isn't it just gonna destroy the town anyway?
Oh no, Raynar's a buddy of ours.
Yeah, we've been in touch with him before.
Yes.
They're like this. They're right there.
Listen, she gave him a harp. I just think that should count for something.
I don't know that it was a gift exactly, though. I mean, it was, he kind of was like, "Brr," and you're like, how about this harp? Like, I mean, I guess, but,
No, you were misremembering. She
you
summoned
hung
him
it
with
in the
harp.
hall. That's what I mean,
She
yeah.
put it in the hall. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And embellished this, like, cold, charmless hall with
Yeah, but
a
Amala
lovely
didn't
Aeolian
match the
harp.
curtains. It didn't match the curtains, so like you
It's like
completely
I
ruined
literally
the
gave
vibe
him
of this
a min-
minimalist decor that you had going on.
Listen, it's a Middle Earth surround sound stereo system, okay? It is just, I just feel like that ought to contribute something to goodwill.
And she didn't hang it there for the dragon. She hung it there to distract the dwarf, the
Gibbet King.
and the orcs that were with him, right?
Yeah, right, and the orcs. Right.
Yep.
Right. So
Yep.
it was, and then she left it there for the dragon
Exactly.
as a gift.
It was a magic harp that could have been very useful during many things, but
And worth a
there
lot.
it stayed.
Listen, I would apologize on behalf of Raynor, but I'm,
Go ahead.
listen, I'm just,
Just make him be
just like-
nice to us. This is fine.
He doesn't even have to be really nice. He just has to eat these guys.
Yeah, just eat these guys.
and then
then
please
go-
don't ever attack the dwarves. Pinky swear. All right. Like I'm sure
And
that'll
then he's
work
like,
out.
in hindsight, he's then like, haha, I don't have a pinky because I don't have hands, I have claws. And so it's like a loophole for him.
Hmm.
There was an exceptionally strong and greedy worm called Smog. Let me remind one of your cousins, Inga.
And where is he now? Fish food, I
Yeah,
believe.
well, that's my point exactly. But Smog, you mean? Yes. Well, that's true. If you feel like battling him over Lake Town and destroying half of it again, that would be fun. Anyway, banter
I
aside,
don't live there.
banter aside, it is a pleasure to have Tari with us, and I want to make sure that we do
Wait,
get
wait, wait.
rolling. Oh yes, you're gonna say.
Also, Inga has 2 faithful sidekicks.
Oh, yes, right.
One of them being a pony named Lilleman, who is currently chilling back home because he is not supposed to become dragon fruit. And last time he came with us here through the waste, he got one of his hoofs broken, which I'm not a fan of. And the other one who doesn't have hoofs, so he can't get them broken, is a raven named Freki. So, yes. And she also has a mechanical thrush, but that one is also not here right now because we just sent him off last session to deliver mail to
Yep,
Dale.
that's right. Mail to Dale.
Presuming that's where that dwarf is.
Well, like that's like the question: does like the thrush just fly to the
He
workshop,
said
or does it
he
seek
said
out?
it goes to him.
It goes to him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, his workshop, as far as you know, is still in Dale, so it should be fine.
Oh God, I don't like the sound of that.
Yeah,
It's way-
Rudnell, I saw that last night. There was a fun session last night for my the Bag of Giving charity event run on this channel, where Brandon Crilly ran the One Ring Second Edition, where there was a kind of an alternate universe thing where what happens if Gandalf takes the ring and obviously overthrows Sauron, but then he's got the ring, which is a very interesting sort of what if sort of thing. And yeah, so that came up last night as well. So with that said, let us move forward to the last introduction, and that, of course, is the amazing Amal El-Matar. That's you, and it is good to see you. How has everything been with you? How is life in the universe? Has Ottawa escaped heavy winds for about 3 seconds or not? Or is there more heavy wind stuff that's happened? Because I heard from Marie that recently there was another tons of power loss and heavy winds. So how are you hanging in with everything, and who are you playing?
We've been really lucky the whole time, honestly. I'm knock on wood as I say that. Yeah, the first time the so-called derecho came through, that was really horrific. That was just, what was it? The hydro Ottawa saying that the damage to our grid is simply beyond comprehension, which was something that you don't want to hear people say.
Not so good. Yep.
But no, the second round we were okay. The high winds, I think it's really fascinating to learn all of the things which we have sort of taken for granted, like the fact that you sort of expect winds to go like this or like this, but not so much like this, which apparently was the problem.
Right.
This is just like a very, like, the direction of the gusts was more a problem than the power of them particularly. Anyway. Weather, we're all gonna get, you know how we all became like armchair epidemiologists over the last 2 years? We are all going to become like super knowledgeable about weather, I think, in the next little while, and it's gonna suck. But that aside, no, things have actually been okay. It's a lovely, gray, cool, rainy day right now. Happy solstice to all who observe. And what else? I've been working on fiction, which has been nice after a long time of not doing so. So yeah, that's cool. I play a character called The River, this lady, who is a woodsman of Rosgobel. She is a warden, aka a fighty bard. She recently received a title, is now a thane, along with Tawny and Inga. What is her? I've forgotten her actual full cool title. I'm gonna start doing the thing now where I forget the full cool title. But anyway, she's a thane.
Music wielder, woodman warden. You are the
yes.
Thane River
That's right.
Music wielder, woodman warden is the
Music wielder. That's right. I love it.
I'll sing
Which
it.
is quite literal because her fighty bardness involves wielding dual axes, whose names are Megor and Lamath, and that come together to be called Cleave Song or Lindchrist, which I think is quite cool as the person who named them. Anyway, and yeah, she also has this lovely faithful hound of Mirkwood named Stone. Appreciate the art that that Tari made. Sorry.
They merged together.
Yes, they're very close. So yeah, that is me.
This is awesome. I am very happy to have this crew back, and let's talk about what happened in our last session, because the session before this, of course, before the last one, we had a big fight. It was a battle, and it involved a burning house and a bunch of other things. It was kind of troubling. But in the last session, once the party had escaped from that, there was a chance to somewhat reset, I suppose, a little bit, to take stock and also to interrogate, because the remaining dwarves had some information that they had to convey. One was that the dwarves had taken Lord Elston. Hold on a second, let me make sure my music's working. Oh, there we go. Okay. There is music. Lovely. It's quiet, but it's there. The dwarves had taken Lord Elston, one of the hunters that had been sent on this dragon hunt by King Dane. They had taken him, attacked him, apparently killed him, and then dragged his body, into the waste. where they brought his body, and no one knows what happened at that point because those two dwarves have not returned since having taken Lord Elston out somewhere. And so the party is going to be following vaguely the trail, perhaps that was left by the dwarves, although also a trail that they have to do across the waste in general. The other bit of information that they learned is that these dwarves had been making their way and that they were preceded by two other characters that the party has already met. That is Greystroke and Skurfira, who they met at the last place that was a nice house, much nicer than this one turned out to be, actually, than Breck turned out to be. And so as the party is heading north, they have still that question about what has happened to Greystroke and Skurfira. Will they come across Lord Elston? And of course, can they now make it across the waste while not attracting even further attention from the dragon? Because, of course, we have this hunt that we're working on. Now, there's a couple things to remember about this chat to keep in mind. First of all, there are two interlocking sets of rules. The first is that the party is dealing with a journey. So as they proceed across the waste, there will be various journey events that they will encounter. This is a very high peril rating that the party encounters. The good news is that they found, and I believe this is right, but I have to double check it, what they discovered is that the embarkation score was high enough that the food that they're able to consume when they have short rests and the like will actually be quite beneficial to them, and will allow them to increase, I believe, either maximize or do something to their healing. I have to double check it, when they're in the process of going through things. So that's good news. But other than that, they have to somehow survive these journey events whilst also trying to keep their presence limited. There are very few places to hide in the waste. And in addition to that, while they are crossing the waste, they will also have to be fighting back the ever-present threat of the shadow, because the waste automatically gives them the opportunity to deal with shadow. And as has been pointed out previously, there are a lot of shadow points that the party is trying to deal with right now as things continue to gather. So that's what we're dealing with right now. These are the things to consider. Last thing I will say is that what happens to the game at 8K is two things, Garlic. One is the custom drawing from my daughter. The second is that the party will get a bit of a very important piece of information which may be of value to them as they proceed through the waste. So if you want to help these fine people sitting over here, then you know what to do, which is to spread the word. If you haven't backed yourself, please consider doing so. Otherwise, please spread the word to other folks, and let's see if we can get those numbers continuing to move in the right direction. With that said, I am going to jump over here to where we basically left our party, and that is the dawning of the day that they head into the waste. Now, this evening, we will have to see how the shadow check works, so we will address that when we get a little bit further on. I'm sorry, Henny, can I move in, please? So
I
we
was
can
going
move.
to say, I think the you told us to remember for this time that we have, I think what the food did was give us +1 bonus on skill checks in the waste.
That's right, for that first journey event. Yeah, I remember. Thank you.
No, so
I
+1
think-
bonus on skill checks in the waste plus advantage on first event roll.
On the first one, yeah.
Oh, okay, that's right. Yes, okay, right, cool. So yeah, thank you. I was like, I know the food did something. Okay. So there's that, and then we also have the Dragon Hunt current score that's going to take place. So what we'll do is we will do the Dragon Hunt thing in the morning of the journey. We will do the Corruption/Shadow check at night, and that way we can make sure that we keep on steadily moving as time goes. So as a consequence, I'm going to ask the folks, since we just started in the morning of that day, to make an awareness check, a Dragon awareness check. So the way this works is the company as a group, and any one of you can do this, will roll a d20, and then you will add the Veil score to the result. Now, at the moment, the company is traveling through dark lands, and that means that there is a -2 check, on -2 to this check. The company is traveling under false names, is attempting to tread unused paths, and that would give you a +2. However, I think it is fair to say that the companions have, and I quote, earned great renown or notice in this area thanks to some exceptional or very visible deed. And I think the burning of Breck would probably qualify. So that's going to be a -2 to that check. So that means you have a total of -2 to this veil check. And if not, then the hunt score is going to increase. And when that happens, it means that if the check fails, then you have been revealed and there will be an event that we will resolve. So which one of the four of you, which one of you four, you brave four, would like to take this hunt check? Go ahead, Trent.
She would have thrown the bacon grease in that dwarf's face anyway. That house was going to burn whether we were there or not.
Yeah,
It's true. The problem is you
burn it.
No, I agree. The hunt check does not specify if they did it. It's just you were there when it happened. So I agree. And it's all Tula's fault. Just remember that, River. You wanted to make this person into a friend, but no, I'm just kidding. Okay, so who would like to make this check? So you're going to be making this check, but it's going to be at a -2. You can spend inspiration to grant advantage on this check. So if any of the chat would like to inspire you, or if you want to inspire one of your companions, I would.
How do we know who has inspirations and who doesn't?
What? Sorry.
How do we know who has inspirations to spend and who doesn't?
Well, let's check in chat if that's what you're getting at.
Yes,
Also,
that's what
I nominate Tren to make this role.
I was going to volunteer anyway, but I just wanted to know.
Here's what we've got. So we have
Volunteers attribute.
we have got 2 from Dragonspear. We have got 1 from Amal. We have got 2 from Arudnel. We've got 2 from Trendane. I don't know who that guy is. We've got, and I think that's the folks that, there may be others that I'm not seeing in here at the moment. Dragonspear is willing to inspire. I want to note, Dragonspear is inspiring you to avoid notice from a dragon. So I just want that to be pointed out, that that's clearly what's happening in this situation.
He doesn't want to share the attention, basically.
Exactly.
No.
Dragonspear. Exactly. All right, Dragonspear. So go ahead and inspire. Oh, you don't have any this month. No, you have some from something else, I thought. No, when that'll be addressed next month when we get there, Rudna. You're good for now. Because that was as of the beginning of this month that I did that. Okay, Dragonspear has inspired Tawny Bear, but that can actually be for any of the 4 of you. Trent, if you're doing it, that's fine. All right, let's see what happens then. Let's see this check. It is a D20.
Roll high.
Well, I rolled meh.
But you get an inspiration.
Oh, that's true.
Let's try that again.
Then I
I'll
shall
roll
roll.
high.
Right.
Well, so that's -2,
no.
so that's a 9.
It's a 9.
Yeah.
9!
9? Okay. There's good
boy.
news and bad news about that.
This is
Of
the
course
first time
there
we
is.
fail this roll.
That's right.
Which, narratively speaking, is incredibly appropriate.
That's right. Now, I do have some good news, which is after this, the hunt score resets. The bad news is that now the hunt check happens. So here is what occurs. It's actually very appropriate, I think, for this.
That's what I was aiming for.
Well, yeah, of course, as always, I can always rely on that, Trent.
Yeah.
As you are proceeding on through the waste, you begin to note, now the waste, as everybody remembers, is bleak and barren. There is very little water. There are some stunted trees here and there, but there's no groves of trees. And no, there is no shelter to be had beneath those trees. The relentless sun beats down, and it appears to have done more than just heat you as you travel through the wilderness, because about midday, you note that there are, you can see smoke rising. Now, I mentioned, I think at the end of our last session, there was smoke rising from the mountain, but this is smoke rising from the land itself. And I believe the scout here is Bolo. So, Bolo, you actually see, without even having to make a check, in the distance that there are multiple smoke, like lines of smoke rising, and as you look further, you can actually smell the sulfur and the smoke on the breeze that is sort of drifting towards you. The land itself appears to be on fire, and now the waste is always a problem, but this is not normal for the waste. This fire had to come from somewhere. So you're the first one, I would say, that notes this, the fire.
And am I out ahead of the party at this point?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I'm just taking taking care to watch the skies and the land both for being seen. But I'll head back to the group and point this out.
That's not
How the
normal.
wind, friends.
Well, it's perfectly in keeping with the character of the waste to be as difficult for us as possible. So I think it is actually normal, but I see what you mean.
The waste stinks.
It does.
Agreed. Are we getting is there a sense of, I mean, I guess, can we tell what way the wind is blowing? Like, is this
Towards you.
oh, great. Excellent.
And in fact, as you look over, as you think of that river, as you've been pointed out, you can now start to see a little bit of, there's always a gray kind of light, in the waste, but you can see an orange highlighted against the gray. You're pretty sure that light is growing stronger, as if the fires are heading towards you.
Well, I want to turn to the resident Californian who is playing.
Knew this was
And
coming.
we were literally just talking about fire season. What do you do when a wall of fire starts moving towards you and there is no place to take cover? Could we leave the waste? Could we just do that? Could we just
You bribe the DM. That's what you do.
Pray
Really?
would probably also be an option.
Or you guilt the DM. One of the two.
Listen, the DM already struggles with guilt issues, okay? Especially with all of you being
Blackmail
friends. But
DM.
I have learned to inure myself with a wall of steel. It's not me doing it, it's the dragon. I just have to repeat that to myself.
Okay, is there I mean, what River will say looking at this is like looking around, seeing not much in the way of fire break or cover. We'll wonder if there's like, should we be digging? Can we dig down into the waste and take some cover in the earth or something?
How wide does this?
It seems quite wide, and as you're watching it, Tawny, the speed with which this light is growing suggests that this is driven through unnatural forces also. And I should say that you may be able to take a look, and Bolo might do this, being able to make investigation checks to see if there are ways around it. So there are basically two approaches to this. One, you can essentially brave the flames, which means you have to kind of try to, find areas where it may not be blazing and kind of go through there, but almost certainly damage will result from this. Or you can try to have your scout essentially chart a course around it, but there's a risk to that because if you go too far out of in one direction or the other, then you won't have time to adjust and you will have essentially lost that day's travel. But it also means that you may avoid being burned at all. So basically, if the investigation check is successful, you don't lose time and you don't get burned. But if it fails, you've lost a day and you can try again the next day if you wish. So, or you could just take the damage, that's up to you.
So we get advantage on this, our first event.
Yes.
I think that, like, if it's possible for Bolo to do that, then we should absolutely take it. And
Yeah, you said investigation, or
It would be an investigation check, yes.
yeah. So I'm decent at that,
And
so we have a
if
decent
it-
chance of
If it
succeeding.
will help bring the DC down, Tawny will grab Bolo and hold him up as high as he possibly can.
Simba!
No hobbit crossing.
Yeah, exactly.
Anywhere the light touches. No, wait, no, that's where the fire is. Never mind.
we're already
Nobody
into
tosses
shadowy
a
planes.
hobbit.
Sorry.
The air is warming, by the way, now, noticeably, as the hot wind
That
blows
hurts.
into your face.
Bola will say, however, we have this, obviously immediate concern, but I wonder if this was done to sort of chase us out of the bushes, so to speak. I wonder if something is watching and waiting.
Well, that may be, but I'd rather not be what is the thing that you do? What is the thing that you do, Bolo? You to the meat before you cook it, you brown it and
You sear.
You sear it to keep yeah. I'd rather not have that done to me. I'd just as soon be observed rather than
No, fair,
like be cooked.
fair enough. I just want us to be wary as we move along quickly here through this.
No, those are wise words.
All right. Should I go ahead and do that?
Let's. Is there an inspiration in the offing? Because if not, I
I
will.
already have advantage.
Well, yeah.
Oh, we already
Yeah,
have
because of the journey
Never
event.
mind. That's right. Go for it.
We're good.
Chill.
Boom.
24.
Woo!
Okay. Yeah, so you as you sort of, chart around kind of strafe basically the fire, Bolo, over to the right, you can see that there is a spot where the clouds of ash and smoke which accompany it are considerably less. And so again, it's almost more clear to you. It's almost as if you're looking at like an incendiary cloud almost that's blowing in your direction. And so you can make your way kind of around the outside of it. And so, if you're able to guide your companions, if you go back and tell them, you can indeed make your way around it. There are some very harrowing moments as you go through because the ash and soot, you have to kind of like all wrap your faces with, some kind of like cloth or something like that to get through. And there are harrowing moments where you can hear the roaring of flames and feel the heat, but you never actually see it like right next to you.
Right.
And so when you get to the other side of it, you can see the kind of smoking, burned out remnants of what was already largely a smoking, burned out land. And that's the other thing. Where did it get the fuel for this, right? I mean, there's no not trees or wood or anything.
Russia.
Yes, no. But so as you make your way up and around, you can see the other end, basically the other side of the fire as it moves there. And so you do indeed escape the worst of that. And as I say, good news is that the score now drops back down to 0. This score. So that is now the case. Now remember, other things besides just the passage of time can increase that score. But nonetheless, still, this seems like a pretty significant thing to you, Bolo and company, as far as like this seemed awfully aggressive, I guess I would say, based on the dragon's potential awareness. Go ahead, John.
And with that high of a roll, did we also find some cooked fowl in the bushes on the way?
You found some very stringy, poisonous things that might have been birds once. That's all. No, unfortunately, you do not have that. But it's interesting you bring up the fact of seeing something, because
Found some lovely roasted quail that was roasted over oleander bushes.
Yeah.
absolutely scrumptious. But as you get to the other side, you do see something else as you're sort of all doing a little bit of, like poor Amal was earlier, a little bit of coughing and all that. You're kind of looking out and you're like, ugh, and you see stuff. So when you get to the other side of this, Bolo, the good news is you're past the fire. But as you turn around with kind of like, all right, now there's a problem, because what you've discovered is in front of you is a broken landscape of jagged rocks and blind canyons. And as you sort of look down on it, it almost feels like the, from the film, the Emin Muil, and after that, razor sharp rocks, it gets even better. That's
Which
kind of
film
what
was
you're... roughly, that's more or less what you said. So that's what you see in front of you, are these sort of broken rock canyons and steep cliffs. And so again, Bolo, you face what will have to be another investigation check, and it's going to be a dangerous one, because to do this properly, you are going to have to kind of descend into these areas as you kind of move forward. So,
Okay.
So yes.
Is it still Bolo doing that, or is that not the guide?
This would still be the scout.
Oh.
There will be stuff for the guide and so forth later on, but
Okay.
yeah.
So is there some sort of check for the climbing down before the
That,
investigation
no, I
check?
think you can probably manage that. The investigation check will sort of take that into account.
Okay.
If you fail the investigation check, then that's another problem. Well, we'll get to that.
Before you roll, I think so. This is still the same date, right?
Yeah, this is right. This is now early afternoon of that first day in the waste.
Okay. So, and are we having short rests every night?
Hopefully, although you don't, you had a rest leading before you came into the waste,
Right.
but in terms of what you're going to get now, hopefully you can get a short rest. But
I'm just going to say that as they come out of the fire and emerge onto this jagged, dispiriting, dangerous landscape, River will just kind of step up towards Bolo and say, and just put a hand on his shoulder and say, "You're doing such a good job. Thank you so much for getting us through that. You can get us through this too." And with these words, which are stirring and inspiring, she will bequeath unto him a Warden's Gift die rather.
Okay.
So in addition to your roll a d8.
Bolo is enheartened. Okay, so I will. Are we ready? Investigation again.
yes, indeed.
All right, here we go. Ooh, that's too low. And ooh,
So 14.
Okay. No, wait a minute. Because you were no, that's what he added was the D8.
and now is this a skill check and is it at +1?
Oh yeah, that's right. We get.
Yeah, I was just about to say that,
Yes.
and
Great.
that is a good thing because you needed a 15.
Yay!
So you find it barely, Bolo, but it's you kind of slip down and back up, and there's one area that looks to
Smoke in
you,
my eyes.
and this I think is actually the appropriate moment for it because there's a moment where it looks to you as if there is an impassable section where you'd have to leap too far. But as you sort of toss a little pebble, and you can hear the sound comes back to you much faster than you would otherwise expect. And so taking a little bit of a leap of faith, you might almost say, you kind of leap off the end of this branch. And sure enough, what looked like an this dark gap is actually kind of a trick of the shadows, and the other side is much closer. And so once you get there, you're able to sort of climb up the other side and see where a pathway basically of several fallen, destroyed trees that have long since fallen into this chasm and so forth will allow the rest of the party to pass. So, Bolo, you're able to, if you wish, call back over the gap to them, hello, I'm fine type of thing, if you want to do that.
Yeah.
Okay. So you folks are able to make your way over. Good thing that Lillimon is not part of this journey because this would have been harding to do this. Stone sort of struggles a little bit, River, but manages to get across as well. But it takes quite a while, and by the time you're all over this area, it is closing in on evening, and the dark gray is settling into a darkened potential night ahead.
All right, everybody, gather around. Drink this now. And so he gives one vial to each person, and two to the River.
Oh,
Okay.
what? Wait, sorry, I missed something.
When I said drink this now.
Yes, yeah. River looks at it and goes, what is it?
This is a hagweed potion. I made it before we left. For those of you wondering, drinking a hagweed potion gives a character advantage on all saving throws against corruption for 1 week.
Ooh. 1
Yep.
week?
That's
That's a week.
That's amazing. Oh my god. Oh, River looks at this like it is a baby bird in her hand. Like this a source of just unlooked for beauty and delight in the world that she must protect at all costs with her hands, and just looks like to Tawny and says, "Thank you. But also, you could have mentioned this earlier." But anyway, in a loving, jesting way, just.
I could have, but it took all the hagweed I have to make these.
All right. Well, bottoms up. She knocks hers back, and she gives the other one to Stone. Presumably, that is the reason. Yeah.
Okay.
Is there also one for Freaky?
No.
Does Freak?
Okay. Rip.
I don't know if
You didn't have Fricky when Tawny made them.
Ah, yeah, okay, that's fair.
And again, he is only very small. Surely, like a drop.
Speaking
on the
of baby bird, you could just here have some.
I love the idea that Freaky in our last session, as you all may remember, a certain friend of mine who is a player that was playing a dwarf was trying to convince me that Freaky was a very, very large bird, and suddenly now we've gone to the other side and Freaky has become a tiny little hummingbird, apparently, as big or as small as you need to be at any point. How about Freaky's just a bird?
Okay, I was just always under the impression when I read The Hobbit as a kid, okay, and then later on reread it, that like the ravens in Middle Earth are just enormous. Like not like enormous as like the eagles, but still like huge, like people size basically.
Frankie just go fight the dragon for us?
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a bird of varying size. Exactly, Big Boss. That's the problem. We have a bird of uncertain size. So that is good timing though, because as you all sort of set up your camp for the evening, you will indeed need to make these corruption checks. So you will do this at advantage because of the hagweed, but you will need to make corruption checks to avoid shadow.
So now roll 2 ones.
No, don't do that.
Corruption check. That's a wisdom check.
That's wisdom, yes.
And you've got a thing for corruption in your saving throws.
Wait,
Wait, is it
save
a check
or-
Oh, sorry, not wisdom checks. It's it's based on wisdom, but yeah, it's a corruption saving throw. That's right, that's in there. And I think, yeah, like Trent said, you should be able to click on the corruption, I think.
Click on the word corruption.
But I get my question: is this a check or a saving throw? Because if it's a check, then we get +1 as well, right?
The saving throw. It is a saving throw.
Wisdom.
It is a corruption saving throw.
Okay.
Not a
so
check.
where's the corruption? Oh, there. I'm blind. Good thing that I had the advantage.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and the river is fine. And
The river,
below.
buoyed by like the relief of having this stuff, is having like an amazing placebo effect as well.
Hagweed!
Yeah.
This stuff is great. I also feel more energetic and. Okay.
My skin is so much clearer.
Exactly.
Sorry, where's that corruption check again?
Just
It's
to
like
the right of your
with the other
constitution.
saving
Oh, there.
throws, basically, it's like
The saving throw.
between
Okay.
wisdom
Yep.
and
0.
charisma.
And I think I have advantage on
You do?
corruption check.
You have advantage anyway because of the hagweed that Tawny gave.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I have
Stone
it,
needs
so-
to do this too, but I think you do have enough for Stone to do the advantage, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Well, I'll come back to
so
that in a minute.
if Bolo doesn't need the potion, then he shouldn't drink it. If he
No, this
Advantage anyway, right? That's what he said, right?
I guess, although I don't know what's the benefit of that. You mean because you save a dose for week 2 or something?
I mean, like, it would just be handy to have another one of those potions because hagweed is like super hard to come by, right?
Yeah, I guess I'd have to think about whether
I mean, he
hagweed
wouldn't be getting Brad. Like, do you like get like advantage against corruption checks like either way, or what
Yes.
are you saying?
Okay,
So
yeah.
you don't need the potion.
So the question is, I guess I'd have to think whether the potion would keep after being open in this way, and I'm willing to, either way. Like, is it like jewel weed for poison ivy where it kind of holds together, or does it go bad eventually? That's my question.
The potion itself?
Yeah.
If Bolo doesn't need it, give it to Fricky.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's
All right. Well,
tricky
then that
because-
solves that problem.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
My other question there was, I'm just imagining like character-wise, like Bolo's just like, oh no, in the Shire we just breakfast on hagweed regularly. This is we're all
Right. I was actually bathed in hagweed as a child, and
yes.
so.
My question was just, I've forgotten how I do because Stone doesn't have a saving throw.
So then just do a
Yeah.
wisdom check for him in this case, because he does have a wisdom stat, I think.
He does, yeah.
Oh, for Freaky's stats, do I just use the regular monster manual Raven
Yes,
stats?
that's fine.
or-
You can use the
Okay.
regular Raven stats. Okay, yeah, well, good thing for that. So right now it looks like we may have some problems with Inga, and we certainly have problems with Bolo. So we will come to that.
Or maybe Inga has a problem with you. So.
Not with me, with the waste. Thank you for the follow, Angster. Okay, so speaking of that, so what that means is Bolo is this sort of fire, the wind and everything, you're still there, and the exhaustion of having to go down into the ruins and just the chasm and just barely making that jump, and this, you are exhausted and I would say weighed down by this. So Bolo is going to gain a shadow point, bringing Bolo to 3. And I am sorry to say, Inga, but the DC we needed on that was a 15. So you also...
I also need to roll for Freaky.
Yeah, you can roll for
handy.
Freaky.
Like, I can just open the character sheet in roll 20. That's super handy.
Very
can I
useful.
roll from it? I cannot roll from it. Okay, never mind then. That's not as handy as I thought it would be. So I have to do that manually.
While you're doing that, Amal, last time you said that you couldn't track Stone's hit points. If you click on his icon, it should open a thing up and you have a cog at the bottom.
That's an 18 for Freaky.
Okay, so Freaky is okay. Inga, however, is not. And Inga
She already wasn't okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
this is even greater weight. So 9 shadow is what you have with you now. As you sort of continue your process. The lookout for you, I believe, is the river, right? Is the one that we have?
Yes.
Okay. So as you settle in to this, as you settle into an uneasy short rest, an uneasy sleep, so to speak. At twilight, it feels to you, so you've settled in the sort of dark gray, and as I shouldn't say twilight, I should say twilight, but the coming of the dawn, so to speak. It seems to you, River, as you are watching with Stone, that you're on the top of this area right after you got past that chasm, right? So you're sitting there and you're, looking out at this blighted waste. Oh, and I have a picture, by the way.
Oh, great.
That I can provide. I know you'll all be excited about that.
Love to see the waste.
I'm going to be popping this into Roll20. Oh, man. Okay. Register Middle Earth. And it's popping up right there. There we go. I love this art, by the way.
Oh, wow. That is actually exactly what was in my head.
Yeah. Just sort of blighted landscape. But what I want to highlight is some of those, do you see those pillars of stone they almost look like to the left?
Weird
so as the light is getting slightly brighter, it feels to you as if the rocks have gotten closer, River. It feels to you as if the rocks have gotten closer even as you watch. Like every time you look away and look back, they seem to be getting nearer.
I refuse.
And
I rebuke this.
So that seems to be happening. So now it's your companions have been trying to rest. You could try to rouse them, but it's no question about it that these rocks seem to be getting closer to you as you watch.
Yeah. Well, she will rouse them. And I mean, entirely possible this is a trick of the light, but the whole can she? Is there like a perception roll or something to see if this is a trick of the light, or if
you could try to make that? Sure.
Okay.
I'm going to assume this is before you tried to wake them.
Yes. And so is that perception?
Yes, that would be perception.
That's a 9. So, yeah. What is that?
Stones, rocks coming, rocks, big rocks, a lot of rocks.
Okay. Well, it is the waste, and River is very on edge, and she shakes her head, blinks, shakes her head again, looks. The rocks are still coming, and just immediately kind of rouses everyone else. Says, "Everyone, wake up! And she's grabbing her axes and looking. Says they might be trolls or giants or something. Just wake up. She's trying to wake them quietly but vigorously, shaking them.
Okay. Okay, and Big Boss is redeemed. That's the other inspiration. So you have an inspiration available to you, Big Boss. I think that's the last one that we have available. So, okay. So you try to wake up your companions who could be woken up if they so choose, presumably.
Yeah. This is one of those situations where Tawny's not going to hit the snooze button. This is not the place for that.
No.
So yeah, definitely awake.
Oh, also wait, I forgot that perception check should have been a 10 because we get +1 to the checks. But anyway, for all the good that would do.
What?
Is this a skill check? Oh yeah, yours is. Yeah. Yep.
And so Tawny will peer out into the darkness and try to see what it is that she's on about.
Oh, sorry, I have to show you. My cat has emerged from wherever he was hiding and is now just standing at the door waiting for me to move it. And he has positioned himself inside the pull-up bar, which I put against the door so that the wind doesn't blow it open. So he's just in the midst of it.
Because it's a box now.
Yeah, okay. All right. Up you go.
It's cool.
Here you go.
Be the box. See the box.
Bye.
Bye, Devin. Sorry, what are we doing?
That's kind of what I'm waiting to
So,
find out.
you've been woken now. So the question is, what are you going to do?
Well, as I said, I'm looking out to try to see what she's talking about.
Oh, okay. So yeah, you also see this. So it's definitely not just River who's seeing this. These moving rocks that seem to now as you look at them, they don't move towards you, but as every time you look away and look back, they seem to have gotten closer.
Oh no, weeping angels! Ah.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly what I was thinking too.
Well, if they're not coming closer while we look at them, I suppose we just have to stare at them all night.
Are they all the way around or just coming like from one side?
No, not all the way around, but coming towards you, basically.
Is there like an
Does somebody
arc
else
of
want to
it?
make a perception check to see if you can get something more than...
It doesn't look like it's
sure.
all the way across the landscape, Tani, if that's what you were asking. Like, you could theoretically move camp to be left or right of them, but if that was what you wanted to do.
Trying to get a sense of how many there were.
Wait a second.
It's hard to tell because it's so dark still. I mean, they're enough that they can be visible to you. But it's not hundreds, but it's definitely more than one or two.
Can we hide from the rocks?
You could try. I mean, there's the chasm behind you that you're in.
I guess one other question I have is like, do we have a sense? And again, I feel like probably, I mean, River is like, telling everyone to wake up and look. And if anyone else wants to make a perception check to see if you get anything else, that would probably be a good idea. But I want a sense of like whether, do we sense that they are like, is this giving us the impression that they are seeing us and moving towards us because they see us?
That's impossible to tell. There's no way to tell that, I'm afraid.
I mean, it wasn't even whether is it true or not. It's more like, is that the feeling we get or not?
But I can't. I can't say that because I don't. It feels very uncanny to you. I would definitely say that. But yes.
Cool.
Yeah, exactly, Big Boss. Hide behind more rocks. Well, I mean.
Then the rock we're hiding behind.
Can Inga get another?
Yeah.
Hello?
Sorry, Inga.
Test?
Yeah, you're there.
Oh,
sorry,
you
Inga. What's
can
up?
Hear me. Yeah, can I get that perception check, by the way?
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, we're all kind of staring at
You're all
each
kind of
other.
staring at it. We
Also
could all make perception checks if you
ignore
want,
the
I suppose.
initial roll, I do get another bonus on that one. That is, I have to add manually.
Okay.
So that is additionally +3, so that's a 27.
So, I mean, the perception. So, what that tells you is that this is not a trick of the light.
Wait, I get double food.
It doesn't matter, Inga. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter. You did just fine.
It's
You're
too
not going to
high.
get a 40 perception. Isn't going to give you
Super
anything more than what
well,
you
yeah.
already have.
Yeah, okay.
These rocks are. It's not a trick of the light. They are definitely. There are more of them when you look away and look back. You do not hear any rumbling sound, but there's no question that those rocks seem to be moving somehow. But again, not when you're looking directly at them, only when you look away and look back.
I just, this is a weird mechanical question to ask, but like, obviously we're not all of us looking away and looking back at the same time. So, like, I guess, do you know what I'm saying? Like, we're not not like dogs watching a tennis match. You know, we're all like very, so like to each, I guess. How am I putting this? Just like, yeah.
This is exactly what I was about to ask. So,
Yeah.
we're both in the same mind space about it. That if, like, because Tani was going to say, you keep watching, and then he would turn, look away, and look back and see if any of them had moved while he was looking away and she was looking at them.
Yeah.
Let's be scientific about this.
Right. So when you do that, the answer is yes, Tani. There are some that you see that are then closer on, let's say, the left side. If you turn, I don't know, let's say you turn back to the left and you look out this way, there are more that are closer to you. Now, the river does not notice that until the river turns away and looks back and then sees the same rocks you did. So it's almost like staggered is the way I would describe it. And again, extraordinarily unsettling and uncanny.
Okay.
My next thing requires Bolo, so.
Yeah.
I toss Bolo towards a rock.
Oh no!
I'm trying to think of like what checks can be done. I mean, so we're standing there seeing weird rocks approach that are giant. The reason I was asking about perception checks was more to get a sense of like, are there features in the rocks? Are there like
that you wouldn't even need a perception check for in the darkness, in the dimness of this light? Not really. They look to be just sort of faceless gray. Well, they have a face, but you know what I mean. Featureless, let's say, mostly gray. And as you can see, they look very similar to that, actually. Just sort of these rock pillars almost that are rising out of the earth and look like just sort of natural rock formations. But there's you don't see any creature behind them moving them, and they don't seem to be, I mean, who knows whether they're sentient or not, but they don't have faces or anything.
Yeah. River basically just looking at these and kind of after having done the thing with Tawny says, I think we should move away from these rocks. If they're coming in this direction, but they're not aiming for us, let's just, if we can avoid them, let's do that.
And Tawny just starts, kind of side shuffling out of camp.
Okay.
Move off to the side, away from the rocks.
And is the rest of the party following suit then?
Yes. Well, River is, yes. I think
Okay.
so.
And I'm assuming that Bolo will, but we'll find out when he gets there.
Yeah, we'll wait for. I mean, I'm curious what the Bolo thing you want to do is, Tawny.
I was gonna ask Bolo to sneak off. And see if they either followed him, paid no attention, or if he could get close enough to get a really good look at them. But, no.
I mean, I think it's worth saying that. We can always just pause for a second and ask Arv to tell us more about the Grey Shade Kickstarter.
And wait for Brad to return. Okay.
Yeah.
So for those of you who just came in, welcome. You are watching day 41 of Adventures in Middle-earth Erebor Adventures. This is Sleeping Dragon's Lie. I am joined as always by the amazing Anduinats of Trent Sparks, Brad Bollier, Tari Toons, and Amal Elmatar. If you like what you see in here, please follow the channel. But in particular, what I'm asking people to do today is to support our Kickstarter. My Kickstarter, I should say, not our, although there are many of us involved, including Tren and Tari as well. But exclamation point Grey Shade KS. We are just a week into funding. So far, we are about a third of the way there, which is a very good start. But we do need to continue to push because Kickstarter goes into this little trough in the middle where people sort of stop paying attention and things, and we can't have that happen because we're not to funding yet. So if folks are able to do it, can check that out. First of all, I think you'll like the project, hopefully on its own terms. Secondly, there is a special illustration that was done, which is going to be turned into a coin, an awesome physical coin, a founder's coin, and the earlier you back, the lower the number you would get on one of those coins if you back at the appropriate tier. There is a 5e game plus a book, 2 books actually, these 2 sequels for my novel Greyshade, Renegade, and Heretic, which are part of the Grey Assassin trilogy. Plus there is an audiobook from one Mr. Trent Sparks, who is right below me right here. And we have a special thing going on today during this session, which is we're going to be running here until about 3:15. If in that time we reach 8,000 and can get 3 backers, that's it, 3 backers and 8,000, then 2 things will happen. Number 1, the party will get a valuable piece of information to help them in their journey. And number 2, my daughter here, little Larv, no big deal, salutatorian of her class, no big deal. I think that's only the 70th time I've mentioned that in the last 2 days. Anyway, so I'm just a little proud, just a little bit proud.
84th.
84th, yeah, thanks. I want to make sure I got the number right. But she is going to do if we hit that number, there will be a custom drawing, and there will be a random drawing in chat, the winner of which will be able to ask her to draw something, which I will then convey to you in digital form. Oh, yes, and also points out to me that she won a math award. She pointed that out to me because that's an inside joke about the fact that any of my offspring somehow having any kind of math ability troubles me about the genetic situation, how that happened, because no, me and math. Anyway, so yes. So you can get that from her. So you got 2 things, and that's only $412 away and 3 backers, chat. So let's get it done. Let's get her done. Let's make it happen.
And yes, Big Boss, that would be a founder's coin narrated by me. Yes, that's absolutely
an audiobook. Although there is a founder's audio, I think, reward as a part of this trend, which is where you, I believe, are able to do a couple of lines. I don't remember if it's like you record a few lines or something. Is that how we did this for the audio event?
I believe we're kind of doing like a set of like ringtones that you can choose. So if you want to have either Aesel or Kagan, saying something about, hey, welcome to the Honest Thief. It's a great place to pick up extra teeth in the back alley if you want them. And that's like your ringtone. So it just says that over and over again in the movie theater.
Hey, welcome to the Honest. Hey, welcome. Hey, welcome. Yeah. So, I mean, who would not want any part of that? Okay, good stuff. So yes, please do check that out, folks. ! Greyshade KS, and thank you for doing so. Okay, with that said, Bolo, there has been a request. You are needed on several fronts. So,
well, just one really.
Okay.
So
I'm not gonna have it go off on several fronts. That would be impossible.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, yes.
We need many hobbits for that.
So what is happening?
I think it might be possible for you to sneak off and see if those things, any of them, turn to follow you. And if not, can you get a closer look at them?
Certainly. Okay. And remind me of what's sort of between us and the rocks.
Not much. That's the problem. Behind you is this chasm, but in front of you are these rocks that are moving ever closer. These natural stone formations.
Yeah, but so I mean, if I'm gonna sort of sneak off, is there something to the side? Is there any other features I could at least
scrub brush-ish?
Yeah.
There's not a lot, but most of the stuff that you had so far, I mean, there may be some beyond the natural stone formations, but right where you are, it's mostly barren plain, I'm sad to say. But you can try. I mean, it's definitely, it's pretty dark though. So, I mean, you
might be difficult in terms of a skill check, but I'll give it a shot.
Okay. So you're going to try to kind of sneak around basically to the right. Yeah, let me have you make, let's make it a stealth check on this one.
Okay.
Which is a skill check.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow. It's so nice to see what your natural 20 looks like. That's amazing. I can't remember if this is in the chat or not, but like that sure was a natural 20 plus 13. So,
Yeah, that's crazy. Wow.
But anyway, but I don't know that you got advantage on either way. It's either an 18 or a 33.
Yeah.
So, yeah, as you kind of make your way around, you definitely can see that again, this is like the case with the cloud of fire that you folks dealt with. This seems to be coming in a relatively limited, amount. That is to say, it's not like a mile in either direction. So you do think there's a way to kind of get around the leading edge of this, basically. Okay. It'll take probably about a half hour moving at pretty good speed. But if everybody does that, assuming that it doesn't like change direction to meet you, you think you would stay out of its way.
And by it, you mean the cluster of rocks?
The cluster of rocks, exactly.
Okay.
Great. Yeah. Well, once Bolo tells us that, River will be like, "Great, let's go now, quickly."
And the second question was whether or not they like followed me or anything. Did they?
They do not appear to be. No.
Okay, that's good to know.
Okay. And how far away are they at this point?
The stones, they are a couple of thousand feet. They're coming fairly quickly.
Obviously.
Yeah. River says, "There's only one kind of moving stone I like," and like
behind you here,
she just kind of like pats Stone to
Yeah.
kind of jog alongside her as they move away.
All right. Well, seeing that they didn't follow me, and they're not moving super fast, right?
No. In fact, when you look at them, they're not moving at all. That's the that's the weirdness of it.
When we look away, that's when they move.
That's exactly right. And I think you were gone when they did a scientific experiment and found that like when the river looks away and Tani looks and then looks back, like part of it has moved for the river, but not for Tani. But then when Tani looks away and looks back, it's all caught up again. So it's, yeah.
Well, so they're not that far away. So I guess I do want to get a little bit closer stealthily and see if I can see, anything like, is there any articulation? Are these like goblins in disguise or other creatures that I could at least
goblins
understand?
On top of goblins wearing a trench coat that looks like a rock.
Right.
So I would say because of the nature of the role, I think you can actually use that same one. It doesn't look like it, Bolo. It looks like these are mostly just natural rock formations from what you can tell. Yeah, exactly, Big Boss. What if you look at them on the reflection of something shiny, like a founder's coin? Thank you, Big Boss. I see you. I see what you did there. I see you. I appreciate you. But yes, so as you move in, it does not look like there is anything apparently moving them or behind them. They look like rock formations.
All right. Well, I was semi-tempted to like go and try to find out their nature before they get to the party, but he also is kind of mindful about not putting himself in undue danger for no reason.
Hooray!
So I am going to go back and tell the group what I saw.
Okay.
What little I saw.
That is just bizarre. Let's move over here.
Yeah. As they're moving, which we are absolutely doing, and quickly, River just says, I think, and to Bolo, kind of in passing, there's one thing that I feel we've learned as a group from traveling in these places. It's that there are strange, uncanny things here, and all of them are best avoided.
All of them are what?
Best avoided.
Right. Yeah. Agreed. So I guess like my first thought when they're approaching is like they're like headed not towards us but towards the chasm.
Yeah.
For some odd reason. So I'm wondering if we all sort of move away from our current location, will they keep heading in the same direction or follow us? So
Is that what you want to do?
I'll tell that to the group and say, well, maybe we should just try that before they get too close to us.
Yep, let's move over here.
We are moving.
Yeah,
like
we
we're
are.
moving away
I
from
figured
the
as
rocks.
much. Yeah.
Yeah, no. At no point did we not move away from the rocks.
What I was chuckling about was, Tawny looking down at Bolo and being like, "Are you gonna go?" And he's because he rolled that natural 20, and it's just like he just vanished, and Tawny never knew he was gone.
He's still got like well, no, you look away and look back, and now Bolo's gone. You're like, wait,
What's going on here?
God damn it. Okay, so you move off to the right, and indeed, after about 20-25 minutes or so of moving out of the way, the rocks move and move and move. Again, looking away, and at some point, when you look back, they are indeed the formations. Although it's a little hard to tell, do seem to have now entered the chasm. Like they do seem to be at the bottom of those now. To the extent you can just see sort of the tips of these rock formations there.
Wow.
They're trying to reach their friends who have gone down into the chasm.
They are exactly. So the good news is you avoided being hit by these rocks. The bad news is that because you have been woken through this, you are all going to gain a level of exhaustion.
Oh, boo.
We can't just go back to sleep after the rocks have gone by.
That is why you won't get 2 levels of exhaustion.
Wow.
We're too
It would have been worse if you had not if you
It's
had
probably
not
hard to
moved.
sleep after seeing a bunch of rocks go into the chasm.
I mean,
Yeah,
wondering if more are
they
gonna
turned
show
over
up,
the
right?
soil, and it's just gross.
Fair enough. 1 level of exhaustion doesn't affect us mechanically yet, right?
Yes, it does.
it does. It does. And as soon as I mark it down, I will let you know what it is. Okay, Stone gets that 2. 1 level of exhaustion. Okay, 1 level of exhaustion. Okay, and this. 1 level of... Okay. Right. So...
Okay, that's not something I ever
Ain't
want
no
to hear an
such
author
thing.
say. Yeah.
It's true. Too many books at the moment with not enough arms to read them. That's really what it's about.
Read with your arms.
Too little storage space.
Too
is the
little
correct
storage space.
deduction.
Yeah, that's true. So 1 level of exhaustion means that you have disadvantage on ability checks. So to the extent that if you had advantage on something else, it just cancels it out. If you had advantage on ability checks for whatever reason. Otherwise, you will have disadvantage on ability checks until the exhaustion has been addressed. Also, as a reminder, the benefit that you had for that one journey event is now over. So just be aware of that because it was only for that first journey event. Okay.
I don't suppose Tawny has any honey cakes, does he?
Oh, I do.
Hey.
Exactly. Big Boss points out you can't easily go to sleep after a rock concert. And that's really...
Oh.
That's a lie. That's
Wow.
an absolute lie. Sleep like a baby afterwards.
That's because of the concussion.
That was a very
Maybe,
concerted
but
rock
that's
effort.
besides the point.
Oh, nice. Okay. So, you folks are getting bolder all the day.
Oh no! Oh
You're
God!
creating an impasse, Arv. Please stop.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh,
Nice.
Can you see what the rock is cooking? I got all of them in there with that one. That was great. Most of them was a WWE reference. Anyway, we will get on before all my players
I'm sorry,
just gonna
I need
like
to
drop
roll
out of the
a
Zoom call.
corruption saving throw right now. I need to do that. I need to,
You have been corrupted.
I've taken psychic damage from.
It was 1d6 dad joke damage. All right, so
Oh, God.
okay.
I'm
So-
immune to that type of damage.
Yeah, she's immune to that kind of damage, she points out. That's right. Through long, careful
No,
care.
you just can't notice anymore because it has caused permanent brain damage for you.
Right.
Because I do
Probably.
them too, that's why.
That's right. She does these
Oh.
too. She's been taught well.
Oh,
Okay.
no.
So, right. So right now we have the veil is at -2. Okay. So other than that, though, the rest of the night passes uneventfully with no more rocks or anything else. And on day 2, as the grim, dawn arrives, basically, and you can see out, I will need everybody as the hunt score goes up to 1. I will need. Actually, I don't think I need everybody. Never mind. I don't need anyone to score on this. To what do you call it? I don't need anybody to roll on this. Thank you. That's the role I'm looking for. To do this because, well, actually no, it's -2. So I guess theoretically it is possible you could fail it. So I will need somebody then to make a hunt score roll for me, please.
As we are waking, Tawny, being the last one on watch, goes around and it's like, here, and hands everybody a honey cake.
Eat this now.
Nom nom nom.
River looks
Oh,
at
I
Tony
want some
and
honey
says-
cake IRL.
River's like, I appreciate that every time we go to bed and wake up, we're receiving medicine from you. In the form of, and just kind of chomps her honey cake, feeds some to Stone.
And because of the effect of honey cakes, we no longer have a point of exhaustion.
Hey!
Hey. All right.
But that took half my honey cakes, so
So
chew
we
them
couldn't be
slowly.
River does actually, sit with like the honey cake. She does actually literally chew slowly, and that she's kind of having a slow coming together and waking up of the rocks, because as uncanny and strange and perilous as it was, she is still thinking about what they looked like when they moved towards the chasm and wondering why they did that, and feeling this kind of slow sadness at the fact that she will probably never know, and that there is so much about here that could be beautiful if it weren't also so dangerous. But that's also part of it, and she's having all of these like art thoughts in her head as she is chewing, but also just the taste of the honey cake is so much like what she associates with home and with the long summer she spent with Tawny at his homestead, and she just kind of turns to the others and says, I hate this place so much, and I hate being here so much, but if I had to be here, I'm just so glad that it's with all of you.
Aw.
Ray, the sponges migrated 1.5 feet.
Group hug.
What just happened?
It's a quote from Ghostbusters.
Oh.
Ray was saying, "You forget, Venkman, I was present during an undersea, unexplained mass sponge migration."
That's right. But yeah. Anyway, she finishes eating her honey cake and licks the crumbs off her fingers, not wasting a single one, and so does Stone. Actually, she lets Stone lick it off her fingers. That's what I'm saying. It's probably horrible grit on her fingers from the rest of the
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, Inga also feeds some bites to Freaky.
That's good because Freaky looked tired, but seems more chipper after that is fed.
Oh.
He's not a songbird, he can't chipper.
Okay. So
Wait, do ravens technically count as songbirds?
Wah.
No, they do not.
Yeah.
They-
not songbirds.
Like I don't know avian classifications, okay? So
They don't have songs. They
say
have
wow.
croaks and calls
Yeah.
and calls.
well, but some songbirds out there like just sound like garbage, so I figured like
It's not about. It's genuinely no. It's
Hypercritical
not
of the song.
Prettiness.
It's
Yeah.
not about the aesthetics of the song. It's just that they literally do not, like songbirds, perch and make songs. They only like in birding you have different categories of like sound bird makes. And
Yes.
so there are like different kinds of calls, contact calls and stuff like that. But a song is a specific terminology for a specific kind of long sustained melodic thing.
I see.
Annoyance in the middle of the night that prevents me from being able to record narration. Yes.
I remember that part, that story that you told.
It's last night. It wasn't that long ago.
No, like yeah, I mean like you did tell that one like a while
Yeah.
ago too.
No, it happens a lot.
No,
in
you didn't
summer.
yet murder that bird. I see.
No, I haven't got a laser strong enough.
Mm. Nerf guns?
Oh no.
So,
Way out of
having fed these creatures and yourselves, I do need someone to make this check for the hunt score. Now, this is not a high number because it was reset, so it's right now it's very low number. But because of the -2, it is possible to fail it. So I do need someone to roll a d20.
I nominate Inga.
Yeah. Just wondering if there's like anything that would maybe give me a bonus on that for my feet, but I don't think so, and I can't be bothered to read through all of them right now.
It's just a +1. We have a +1 to add to it.
Yeah. Is that a d20 or what is it?
D20.
D20.
Wow. Well, it's
So-
So Bolo was gonna roll, right?
No, but it says you got 4 minus 2, so
Is
it's
2.
still the peril roll.
Barely.
Barely.
But
We
yes,
bring the drama. It's good.
that's it. Okay, so the hunt score has risen, but the dragon does not. More awareness is not made, and the party can now set forth on its journey. About midway, I would say, through the second day, you catch sight of something very odd. It is a dead, or, mostly dead, I guess, tree that is withered and bare, and it stands rooted in the dusky banks of a dry river valley.
No!
It is the only tree that you can see for miles around, although it's not much of a tree, because even from here you can see that it's hunched and thin and kind of leafless and twisted and probably gnawed by worms and all that. But still, it is somewhat cheers the spirit, right? Because it's actually endured in the midst of all this desolation that you have gone through. And something about this tree, at least to Tani and Inga and the river, looks very familiar to you.
Ah, it's her!
So here's what happened to the Endwives, I suppose.
Yeah, so River, I mean, you guys remember this, right? Am I the only one
yeah.
scarred by this, or no?
As soon as you said we see a tree, I'm like, oh, damn it.
Yeah, River goes, like, she just stops. She actually stops moving and kind of goes very still, and stares at this. Now,
Tawny leans over and is like, see, this is why I said we should have gone the other way around the fire.
River does not react. She's just kind of like in the grip of this. Can we just tell, for those who are not here, so I am actually trying to remember I remember the way this encounter ended the last time, but I don't actually remember the conversation per se. I don't know if you do, Arv, because they did talk to each other.
Yes.
So could you remind me, or just pretend that like I actually went back and looked at the clip for the specific thing?
Yes. Well, I mean, if this is the person that you're thinking of, the creature that you're thinking of, this was a very sort of suspicious creature, but also simultaneously interested in all of you, that kind of spoke in very kind of high, kind of almost withered sounding, old sounding voice, and just kind of like, spoke to you. And it ended, reasonably, comfortably, where no one was attacking the other or, rushing away. But I don't know that you left the conversation with this person, this creature, friendly, as friends, but you weren't enemies anyway. But you did encounter this creature within the waste.
I mean, literally what happened that I remember is that River went up to, what's her name? Witherfinger
Was the name.
Witherfinger. And Witherfinger, like, told her to come closer, and she did, and then, like, extended tendrils of horrible slimy weirdness into her mouth and nose and stuff. And I think a shadow point resulted of it. That's what I also remember. But
Maybe, but there was other information gathered that was really
but-
helpful, though.
exactly, but she did give us information. Okay, that's mostly what I wanted to
Yep.
remember, that there was like an
Yep.
information exchange. So River just kind of goes very, very still and gulps, and looks at this and kind of actually instinctively like finds herself like gripping Bolo's shoulder in particular, like as if like holding him back and like do not go any further or closer. And she says, like, partly kind of doubting herself a little bit, but she says to Inga and Tawny, "That's Witherfinger, isn't it?"
Certainly it looks like her.
Yeah. Be also my guess.
And Bolo's like,
Oh,
who's with
right.
Finger?
So, have you ever met an int?
I've heard of them. Heard them described. Heard the
This,
conversations they've had.
if it is Witherfinger, is a female one, which are apparently very, very rare.
An Entwife.
Yes, that's what they're called.
River says very quietly, "I spoke to her when first we came through the waste." And then she just kind of freezes a little and just kind of can't go further for a moment, and then looks away and says, "It was very strange. I did not think we would see her again. But she did give us information."
We had hoped, if I recall correctly, to convince her to move from this place to somewhere that would be more healthy for her, but she seemed not necessarily content to stay here, but also not quite bound to this place. Indifferent might be a better.
I think she's been transformed into something that suits this place. Things adapt, and then they don't want to adapt out of that, I think.
Certainly not when all hope is dashed.
River is kind of clearly, and this is sort of a weird thing on River. River does not often look actually afraid. Like, she is very... She's very stride forth into danger and, like, you know, protect your friends, don't care what is going to happen to you. But she seems actually afraid here. But also, like, the reason she is afraid is that she is also very, like, aware of the fact that she will go and talk to Witherfinger again. And kind of wants to, but is like just paralyzed between this fear and it's just kind of, anyway, she's just kind of standing there staring.
The first time we talked, when we talked to Witherfinger, the river still had the doomed to die thing going, didn't she?
Oh yeah, she did. Yeah,
That's
she did.
true.
She
So
no
that's
longer
probably an echo of that as part of that fear as well.
That's a very good point. Yeah. I mean, River very much felt like she was going to die that time. Not necessarily with Witherfinger, but like on this journey.
Yeah.
But she has always been, like, you know, very overconfident and stuff like that. But in this case, it's just like a thing happened here that she doesn't want to happen again, but she still feels very drawn to this creature, but also very afraid, just like afraid of going closer. Trying to think if there's like an analog to this. The closest thing that I can think is like, I forget if I described this to you guys or not, but when that giant storm was coming to Ottawa, I was I like loving storms as part of my personality. Like, I like Tren. actually. We both love storms in a way that is foundational to our being. So I was standing out on my balcony, which is, several floors up on this apartment building, and looking at the storm coming and going, hooray, storm. And then as I looked at it, I was like, no, something is wrong. This is actually, something is wrong with this storm. This feels very strange and wrong. The color of the sky is wrong. The way it's approaching is too fast. And my monkey brain was basically just going, get off this balcony now. Do not stand here. Do not stand here at all. And then I found myself like actually driven indoors, like in a way that I've never felt from this before. And I feel like in this situation, River's monkey brain is like, do not approach the scary tree. Do not approach the scary tree. At the same time that like everything else about her that is explory, bounding, wanting to move forward, wants to approach. But as a consequence, she is just kind of standing in place and sort of feels like it would be rude to go past without talking, but is just stuck. But anyways,
So you're teetering between big bad scary thing and withy fingy uppies. maybe not that.
Yeah. Actually, do I have a coin?
I don't know. I would imagine you have a loony somewhere.
If only I had a founder's coin.
All right, Hammer, it's this. Kukuri, it's this. Ding!
Yeah. If anyone else wants to have a reaction while I'm doing this, please
That's
feel free.
okay. Clearly, Arv wasn't paying attention, or he would have laughed and said something about thanks, Tren, for.
Oh, the founder's coin. I did. My brain just caught up with the rest of it. Yeah, I've got like 6 things that I'm trying to attend to at the moment.
Yep.
So are the rest of you moving towards? I mean, because you're all just standing looking at the tree. Do you want to move towards it? Move away from it? I mean, it's not moving towards you. So.
Tell you what, Amal, I will use my Canadian werewolf coin.
Hey. Okay. Thank you.
And
Canadian. I have many questions.
okay, yeah. So
is it a coin
there's-
with a Canadian were? Oh, I
there's-
see.
There's the queen, and then there's the werewolf on the other side. Because it's from the Royal Canadian Mint.
Great,
and-
great.
I see it's
Amazing.
playing hockey there, so that's.
I thought you were making reference to the Doctor Who episode
While
in
drinking
which the
maple
royal
syrup.
family are all
Don't-
werewolves. Okay.
Don't tease. That whole episode is just.
Do Canadian werewolves tap into maple trees and drink
Yeah,
their
with their
sap?
claws,
They
just
can.
like.
No, they just bite it and drink the sap. from the
Oh
tree.
yeah.
And then the tree becomes,
That's the origin of Witherfinger. Hey.
Were tree. There you
You
go.
got bitten by a werewolf that sucked her sap and turned her into a vampire.
this thing. Right.
Right.
So the queen is what, and the werewolf is what? Flipping the coin.
We're
The
just-
queen
yeah.
is stay standing in place. The wolf is approach.
Okay. This is going to hurt my thumb so much.
Oh no! Don't! Jeez, they could have just tossed it in the air.
Werewolf.
Oh boy.
I mean, oh.
Okay. All right.
Hope you're
well,
okay.
Anyway, River
You
basically
never-
says to the others, she says, she relays this information. She stands there, kind of awestruck and afraid. And then she just strides forward very determinedly, and says, "Stay here," to the others, and approaches.
Okay.
Witherfinger.
When you get close, you see this, and let me show you all, for those of you who have not yet seen.
Since we're not sure it's her, we'll call it maybe finger for right now.
Maybe finger. Okay. So she is there, kind of, again, sort of just standing, kind of branches above her head. And again, if you were just walking by, you would assume, if it had been Bolo, you would have assumed, oh, it's that one. What's up, Rising Tides? I was like, it's the wrong channel. That I know who this is. Hey, what's up, Rising Tides? Good to see you, man.
I knew.
Hello.
So as it's sort of like just kind of in place, right, with leaves and branches overhead. Well, not leaves really, but certainly branches. Bolo would have just walked past it. Most people would have. But when you get close, the tree slowly bends its/her head, but doesn't do anything other than just sort of regarding you like this. At least not yet.
River looks at her and is just like basically just adrenaline shaped into the form of a human woman, and she drops to one knee in front of her and says, "Hail, Witherfinger, and well met. How are you today?"
And Witherfinger.
She sounded like she was greeting somebody at the office she doesn't really want to see.
Hello, Bob.
How are you?
How are you? Great weather we're having. So Witherfinger kind of bends her head a little bit, and she doesn't say anything, but she gradually moves her strange branch-like fingers and does, I should do it this way, and does this. And then looks at you.
Do you remember me?
Wait, she's starting to talk. She's working up to it.
Oh.
No, no, not yet.
I'm kidding. I thought you were doing like end speak where it would like take really.
Oh
long
yeah, she's like,
time.
thank you. Yeah, no, she's not quite.
No, she's not.
She
like
doesn't speak that way. But so she doesn't say anything, and she kind of gestures with her great branch-like arms, and almost like as if she's gathering in the air and the space around her, River, and then sort of focuses down below at her feet, which look like the roots, basically.
She didn't take this long to talk before, right? Like,
Correct.
Does she look different? Does she look more leafy?
No, she looks, if possible, more withered. She looks even older than she did the last time. I mean, like, not obviously she's older, but you know what I mean? Like, considerably older.
So River is carrying, like, water with her and stuff, right?
I would assume.
I assume, yeah.
Although
yeah.
you've been using a fair bit of it as you've crossed through this wasteland, but yes.
Yeah. So River is kind of like, she's noticing that, first of all, like, I mean, Witherfinger was chatty the first time. Like, she actually was very talkative, and this is actually a weird difference. And so River sort of rises slowly and approaches the trunk, takes slow steps closer, and unscrews her water skin. I don't know how skins work. I assume there's a screw top. And she pours water over her roots. And says, "I never thought I would see you again. But I'm glad to. I had wished you might be in a greener, softer place. But I hope this will do you some good," she says as she corks the water again.
So and as you were doing it, you noticed that the roots, kind of her toes, which look like roots, kind of wiggled back and forth, almost like she was running them in, like toes in running water, type of thing. And she kind of nods, but then again, she does this.
Oh.
Gesture to you.
Oh.
She's clearly intending this to you, not that she's going
Yeah.
to sleep, but
Right. Do you want... Should we sleep
Rest.
here?
she nods very slowly.
And then she descends upon us.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then, no, it isn't that.
It's like the end of Poltergeist.
Sleep forever. Yeah.
No, the roots draw us down into the earth as we're sleeping.
So, well, River, she kind of doesn't know whether to get the others. How far would this be from the others?
Not that far. I mean, maybe 5-minute walk, you know. They can see you from where they are, so.
Okay. River is, again, she's very overawed by this creature.
Mhm.
She is just going to get down on the ground, put the water skin under her head, put her head down on it, and close her eyes.
And Tani, Bolo, Inga, while you're watching the river do all of this, are you doing anything other than watching?
Trying not to panic, for one.
Okay. Well, I wondered,
like-
if anyone's like, hey,
It's
you know,
like,
like
what the hell is she doing?
We'll see.
no, I got you. I got your action. You're good.
Yeah.
you
I was
made a
gonna
good.
say, if anyone approaches, like River will say something. But,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, if we're 5 minutes walk away, that's a long way. Donnie's not comfortable with that distance. He would close to like 50
A little
feet,
bit. Okay.
but
Yeah.
not right up to the tree. But he's not going to be 5 minutes walk away.
Okay.
Yeah, similar. I mean, I'll accompany Tani. I don't want to speak for Inga, but given Bolo's a little bit freaked out by the experience with the rocks, so I am kind of, I'm keeping one eye on Witherfinger and the river, but I'm also keeping an eye on the other eye on the sort of the land, just our surroundings. I'm a little nervous about what this land is, how dangerous it is. So.
Make a
Just keep an
perception
eye.
check for me, Bolo, while you're doing that. And then, Inga, are you moving in with Tani as well?
Yeah, sure.
Ooh, 24.
Wow.
Wow. Just imagining Bolo's eyes are actually like on stalks now.
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
that, like swiveled towards the river.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the distance, Bolo, not coming towards you, fear not, but sort of walking along the horizon because it's so flat, you can see for a long distance, and silhouetted against the gray light of the day, such as it is, you can see a small, dark figure moving very slowly, again, not towards you, just like paralleling, I guess. Not even paralleling because it makes it sound like he's following you. It's not. Just a figure is like moving there that you can see as you look off in that direction.
Can I tell it's nature? It's
No,
size
way
or
too
anything like
far.
that?
Large enough to be seen from a distance, but not, it's pretty small figure, so it's probably not giant sized or anything like that, but bigger than a halfling, certainly.
All right, well,
So
I sort of, Tani, Inga, I point to the figure.
and you
What's
two can
that?
see what Bolo sees.
And it's not like ant-ish, right?
No.
Okay.
No. Smaller. And not moving like super. I mean, it's moving slowly, but it's not like, ponderous or whatever. It just, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Otherwise, you see nothing else as you move in.
I
It's
don't
not like the
do
mystics
anything
of the
beyond
Dark Crystal.
keeping an eye on
Right.
it as time passes here, and but also still watching the river and Witherfinger. And
Okay. So if you folks do this, then I would say you'd move within, say, when you get to about 100 feet, River, you would probably become, although you're starting to drift away a little bit, because you said you were paying attention, you can kind of open one eye and see that your three companions have closed, plus Freaky and, of course, Stone, have closed to within 100 feet of you or so. And Witherfinger, that you all can now see, is still kind of you can see the river is now lying down with the water skin under her head between the, quote, feet/roots of this thing. And Bolo, now that you're close, you can see that this is indeed not just living, but that it is more than a tree, that it looks like an ancient woman in a tree, if that was somehow possible, kind of merged or fused together. And you can see that the river is there, just has like, I assume, River, like one eye open. I know you said you were going to say something to them, but...
Oh, only by explanation. Like, if they're coming closer, she'll say, I'm all right. I just want to do what she's asking.
And as you say that, the Witherfinger reaches out another branch and kind of gestures to the three of you and sort of indicates the area between her feet. And then does this thing again.
She wants us to sleep at her feet?
Mm-hmm. I think she just wants us to sleep here among her roots. I don't know why.
So if I'm close enough to speak, I mean, I guess we are close enough. I'm just going to ask, is there danger? And it's sort of open-ended for River or Witherfinger, if Witherfinger wants to answer.
Witherfinger does not answer, but just kind of regards you steadily.
For how long are we to sleep?
And Witherfinger kind of reaches up towards the sky and then looks back down at you.
Yeah, what time of day is it? Is it morning?
Midday.
Midday.
Yeah.
Okay, well...
Oh, big boss.
I mean, I'm willing to do what the party wants. And it's a little nervous making.
I was just catching up on the chat.
Okay. So.
Also, I just want to point out, I mean, River's not going to point this out, but, literally the last thing that River said about the waste before this encounter was, avoid things in the waste. Do not go towards them and interact them, and has...
The waste has a way of changing a plan, right? Yeah.
But this is literally, and I cannot stress this enough, literally what she was thinking of when she said that. So it is, again, like... This is just something that she feels helpless towards. But yeah.
Bolo kind of leans into Tawny and just asks, is she benevolent? I don't know your experience with her.
Well, that's the thing. We don't know either. She didn't harm us when we were here last time. But she seems diminished versus what she was last.
Okay.
You don't have to do this.
Yeah, but Bolo's nervous about it, to be honest, because he doesn't have experience with her and doesn't know what to think. So he's willing to take the party's lead.
Inga?
Yeah. Sorry, I'm having really bad concentration issues today. Yeah, it just follows along basically.
I mean, I can say, and this is something that River would. I mean, what River is making clear is she is doing this thing. She is sort of doing this because the last time she was also the person who spoke to Witherfinger and kind of took the consequence of doing that, and so is doing this. She doesn't know whether this is something that is going to endanger her or is going to, whether she's accepting help or not, essentially. So she doesn't know what to tell the party to do, but she wants to kind of make clear from what she said and from her body language that she is she's engaging with her like this. But if anyone wanted to not do this and, for instance, keep watch, that would be an option. But that's take her example whichever way you want.
That's exactly where Tawny's head is. And
Yeah.
he looks down at it. He's like, I will stand watch. You can do this if you want.
Okay. Well, Bolo's waiting. I'm just not going to be the first to like lie down with her fingers.
No, but you're not.
You're not. River's already doing that. Yeah.
You are lying.
River
Yeah,
is
she is already.
curled up on the floor and like
Alright.
got her eyes closed.
Well, Bolo is also partly taken by the stories from Bilbo about the Ents, and so he's predispositioned to sort of trust them. So he'll go and lie down as well, and yeah, he will look up at Witherfinger and say, "Thank you for your shelter."
And with your finger kind of, there's a slight, notice also now that you're close that when she looks down, there's the sound of creaking as of a tree in the wind as she moves her neck to look down at you.
She's going through her catalog of beasts right now and can't remember the hobbits being on it.
Was it Harvard? Hobo? Yeah.
Hobgoblin?
Harvard? Yeah. Haberdasher? What? So, Inga, you said you're following along, so you're also going to do that? In that case, you're going to... Okay.
Yep.
So, it does not take long, actually only a moment, before you fall into a slumber, and Tawny, from the outside, as you're standing watch, you can see the head sort of bend down ever closer to the sleepers. And you hear this. First, Bolo, you don't see anything, but you can hear the sound of this. Oh, fascinating. We have here a halfling, a half creature, no, a full one. It's been so long, though, since we've seen things like this in these days. I no longer have the trick of speaking in the waking world. My spirits have been sapped, yes, they have. So I must speak to you this way. I have not seen you before, though I've seen the others with you. Who are you, my child?
Am I conscious enough in this dream state to
Yes.
reply?
Yes,
Okay.
even though it's strange because you're speaking into darkness even now, but yes.
Yeah. I say, I'm Bolabras Took, and I'm from the Shire. I don't know if you know of this land, but it's quite a ways from here. I've come a long way, but I've heard of Ents and Entwives from Bilbo Baggins, who made a great trek and met many different Ents along the way, and as did his friends. And so I'm glad to meet you, Witherfinger.
Little creatures and words that I do not know, although I may have heard of those things that come from, you called it the Shire, I think. There was a time when I wandered throughout Middle-earth, but now my life has grown small. I spend my time here now and wander in search of memory. But I am glad that you've come. I will speak to your other friends too. But I would tell you first, you should not be in this place. It is no place for living things. Even I have diminished. Why are you here?
Bolo is feeling trusting, so he's going to admit our mission was given to us by King Dane of the Dwarves, and we are set to go to Zarankabar. Is that what it is?
Hmm.
Zarankabar.
Yes.
To find a dragon and see what we can do about it.
A
Do you know
dragon?
anything?
I have seen the great worms fly overhead, but they do not come towards me. I am but an ancient withered tree, and am of no threat to them. Dragons do not care of living creatures besides themselves. There is nothing more self-focused than the dragon, nothing more interested in its own body than the dragon. And so I wait their notice. But those dwarves, some dwarves can be dangerous, you know. Dark-hearted dwarves. There were some that I saw murderous and greedy. They kidnapped that poor old man and threw him down a hole and stole all his shiny armor. Not fair. He looked tall and strong once, but withered like me. Will no one help him? You could save him, you know. It would take you longer from the dragon. Perhaps you care more for the dragon than for him. But he came to and is gone now. He waits there in the distance.
Wait, can we all hear this or only
No,
Bolo?
just Bolo.
Just Bolo.
And speaking of that, Bolo, I'm going to have you contemplate that for just a moment. And I'm going to jump over to Inga. Inga, you two are asleep. You two are in darkness, and then you hear this familiar voice, and you hear, I remember you, child. You came and saw me once before, and I told you then to beware this place. Yet ever were the hearts of adventurers defiant of safety. They travel into places none should go, and stay in places none should linger. And here you are now, and again have returned. Why have you come back, O dwarf?
Because if I wouldn't come here, then my home would become like this place.
Ah, you would not have your mountain home brought to this blackened waste, and you should be afraid. There are others of your kind who do not have your feelings of heroism. Some dwarves can be cold with axes and hard edges and armor. There are some now lying in wait for you, and they have murder in their minds. Beware them. Beware them. And as you're thinking about that, I'm going to jump over to the river. River again, darkness as I've mentioned, and you hear, You I remember well, child. We were connected, you and I, but you approached me with fear and doubt. Do I frighten you?
River says, yes. Yes, you do.
What frightens you about me?
That's a good question. She doesn't say that.
It's a list. I hope you're brave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am ready for your spreadsheet.
She opens a dream scroll.
Oh, yeah, it's just all the way down.
Like a CVS receipt.
I've made a list.
Yeah, exactly, with all the coupons.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm thinking of how to put this exactly. River says, when last we spoke, you changed me in ways I did not expect to be changed. And that frightened me. But I don't want to fear being changed, and I wanted to speak to you again. And it saddens me to see you in this place that is so terrible. When I find myself imagining what you might have been in a different place, and what you might be still in a different place. And I think that the thought of that kind of change also frightens me.
A great deal of fear I sense in you, child. Fear and doubt and uncertainty. You have gained power since we last met. All of you and your companions now are heroes. And the more powerful you grow, the worse your fear. I am also afraid, child. Afraid that a time to wither will not be again a time to grow. Now I wait for something I have remembered. And you must think yourself of what you will do when the time of testing comes. There are more obstacles here in this waste, and more things to face. Orcs, for one. I hate orcs, nasty, mean, axy brutes. I watched them throw the big one out, drove him away with fire. But he's worse than any of them. He wants to go south, you know, south to the dark land, to his land, to Mordor. You will have to prepare yourselves. What will you do if you meet him, or the other creatures you seek? What will you do when your fear is greatest? Hold on to that. Let me jump back to Bolo. One moment actually on Tani. Tani, from the outside, you can, again, not only see the head moving in, but you can almost see the body sort of slowly swaying as if in a wind, although there is no wind, of course, here at the moment. And you can just see kind of swaying downwards, and your companions stir uneasily, although they don't look to be in any like horrible distress. What are you doing besides just looking at that? Yeah.
I was just about to say, aside from that, I'm keeping watch.
Yeah. I would say that same, that you no longer see on the horizon, the figure, the dark figure. Other than that, it is, gray and barren and devastated, pretty much, as has been the case so far. Bolo, when last we left our hero, you were thinking about what Witherfinger had told you. I think about the person thrown in the hole, I believe, is what you had.
I in my dream state. I cannot speak for my companions, but I don't see how they could leave someone like that to fate. Who is this man? I assume he is, and do you know why he's here, and where is he now?
And for the first time, Bolo, the darkness clears, and you see yourself standing above a pit. It is a pit within the waste, and it is not a large one, but it is definitely would not be something you would see unless you were right up on top of it. And looking down, you can see the broken body of what is clearly a man. Gray hair. You can see blood pooled around his body. But as you look down upon him, he turns slowly in your direction and then reaches out a hand and croaks out something that you cannot understand. It just seems like gibberish, but he looks quite familiar to you. And I want to double check here and think about whether you would have met this person. Well, I think it's fair to say he looks like a tall and old knight. And you can probably put two and two together even if you haven't met this person specifically because of the other people you were told were sent on this dragon hunt. It sounds like the description of Lord Elston.
Okay.
And then so you just have that vision and then it fades. And then you hear almost as a whispering, "He is not that far, but it will take you some distance from your goal. Only you can decide." And the whispering kind of fades as darkness falls, and you begin to wake, although you can tell me if you want to say something first, Bolo, but it seems like you're coming out of the dream state.
As it's happening, I'm just trying to be aware of when I was near that pit. Could I get a sense of any landmarks around that place that might help lead us there?
One, which is that you think you see the mountain towards which you're heading, Zarankanbar, in the distance, so that you think you get kind of a fix, roughly speaking, on where that was in rough terms. Yeah. And by the way, this did look like not some alternate version. Like if you were awake, you think you would have seen some, like this looks like the waste around you. You know what I mean? So
just for drama's sake, he's going to say, "Wait, I need to know where to go."
You will learn, child. No, she doesn't say that. As you're fading from there, Inga, you had heard this thing about dwarves in ambush, and so you have a chance to react to that. Suddenly, in a distance, woo woo.
Sorry, that's
the dwarves. No. Do you remember anything specific about these dwarves?
And there is a moment of, as you sort of think about that, there is a moment where you see there are these tunnels and cracks in the ground around you as you walk. And as you look left and right in the dream state, you can see your companions kind of trudging along, kind of Bolo and Tani and River's heads are all bent. Even Stone kind of drifts his head down. Next to you on your shoulder, you hear kind of a roar, and it's kind of a low, kind of despairing caw from Freaky. And as you're moving along in this chalky waste, there are these large cracks in the ground. And at one point, you pass through or by one of them, and suddenly you feel your feet give way below you as someone or something has grabbed you from behind, has grabbed your leg. And as you trip and fall and look, you can see something similar has happened to your companions as three hardened and yet almost not emaciated, but very angry-looking dwarves have pulled themselves out with swords drawn to attack you. And then that vision fades. Also, thank you for the tier 2 sub-dragon. And then that vision fades. And go ahead.
Does Inge notice anything specific about them? Like what they were wearing?
They look very much like the same sorts of dwarves you were dealing with at Breck about a day and a half ago.
Like that it's actually the same people, or just that they belong to the same
Same, that they look like of the same category, like they might have belonged to the same group, although these dwarves do not look like these are not exactly the same. Like you didn't see these particular
so she
dwarves.
doesn't recognize any faces.
No, but she does, but they definitely look like they're in the same group category.
Do you remember that like 2 dwarves were tasked with getting rid of Lord Elston's body? We never met them. Or 3?
Yeah, it was 3. It was 3 total.
Sorry. So there were 3 that were missing from the group in the first place that we never met, that obviously have taken him into the waste, and that's why. So yes, that's it. I just want to make sure that like we're all like synthesizing the information we already have been given from.
Yeah, and you'll have a chance to touch.
Scarf told us about it.
Yeah. And Inge, as you're sort of thinking about that, you hear again as this begins to fade. You hear, "Can a dwarf somehow find a way to take action against her own, I wonder? Will you use your axe for good purpose? You must discover the answer on your own."
That's why it's called action.
And then again, if you can try to say something if you wish again, but the it is fading, this dream state.
Yeah, no, I don't think she would say anything more to that.
And so as you wake from your dream, the last person to talk to is the River, who has heard this business about orcs, and so you can respond to that in the same way if you wish.
River only says, sort of like in the dream, sort of stands a little taller and says, "I'm not afraid of orcs. I'm not afraid of fighting. I'm not afraid of anything that I can wield an axe against." Well, and then pauses. That was a maybe bad choice of words.
How dare you? No, I'm just kidding. Crap.
But implicit in that is that she would obviously never do that to Witherfinger. But she says that I've never been afraid of those. I'm only afraid of being changed in ways I don't want and can't control, and of losing things that are beautiful in the world and dear to me. That's all.
And there is there's a pause, and then you hear, "It is the way of things that they will be lost, and only change is inevitable. You will be changed by things beyond... Oh, beyond your control. Like the food next to me my daughter brought. You will be changed by things beyond your control. The question is whether you will wither and shrink or grow with change. And then there is this pause, and the darkness for a moment fades. And in fact, lots of things around you fade. And let's see. Let me move this up here. And then something comes into view. It is a dark figure, and it is rushing towards you, so it seems, like running towards you. It's very much a figure that you actually saw before. At least on the... Oh, no, you weren't there. Actually, I take that back. You didn't see this. So it was just a dark figure that is rushing towards you. And as it gets larger and larger, and you were just sort of standing in the waste in your dream state, you begin to see sort of you feel your heart get kind of caught up in your throat, and you know, as it's getting closer and closer. And then it gets close enough and it slows down, and it comes up to you, and you see that it is an orc, and it looks like this. It is terribly burned, and as you were looking at this terrible thing, you can see that it is terribly burned, his face and left arm. He stands tall, though, and there is a dangerous light in his eyes, and he looks down on you as he comes close, and he says, "I have come to talk to you. You are a hero, but we have a common enemy, you and I. If you would defeat the great worm, then you must know his weakness. I have been cast out by my tribe, and I will work with you to defeat this worm. I am Mukash, the burned, and I have spoken." And there is a moment where you just see this, and then like this horrifying kind of image, and then again there is a fading, and you hear, "What then will you do?" And you can have a moment if you want to respond to this, River.
River is like a little like stunned and awed and fascinated by this, and by the awareness of the dream, but the clarity of the vision and stuff. And the last thing that she says to that is, "What about you, Witherfinger? You've shown me something outside of yourself here, and I thank you for it. But what of you? What can be done for you?"
"What can be done for me, child, is to remember. Do not forget me. Do not forget me." And there is a moment's pause, and then the three of you awake. Tani, from behind you, you hear, because you turn back to the tree because it's right, and from behind you, you hear, "I would speak to you." It's not like right over your shoulder, but it is behind you.
I was just about to ask.
It's like 2 seconds. It's like, no. But it is behind you. It's some like a little bit of a distance, but not way far away.
He's obviously going to turn.
So when you turn back, you see that same, creature that I just showed before, this burned, scarred, tall orc. and you turn back to him as the three of you, Bolo and Inga and the river, wake from your dream. Above you, Witherfinger is gone, and instead you are simply lying on this devastated landscape, and this burned orc looks at you. I would propose an alliance. You will not survive without me, nor I without you. We can defeat the Great Worm only if we work together. I am Ugash the Burned.
When he says that, River says his name with him at the same time.
Ooh, okay. So when you say that, and he said, no,
And Tawny's like,
what the hell? Yeah. And so the orc looks down at you and kind of blinks and then says, "You know my name."
Obviously.
And there's sort of a pause, and then he says, "And they all will know it. They will all know it." And that's where we're going to bring our session to a close. Wow.
That was so cool. That was really cool.
The power of Witherfinger compels you, or is it Ugash the Burned Orc? Yeah.
Oh,
Wait, literally, his name is Oh Gosh.
No, not Oh Gosh. It's Ugash.
Oh, God.
Oh gosh, I've heard. No, Ugash. It's Ukghash.
sure.
Gosh, you know.
That's what he says now, after he realizes.
I mean, my name is Death Blood Axe. No, it's
Oh gosh,
it's
the golly.
Oh gosh, no. It's oh gosh. And her name is Weather Monger, not Witherfinger, all right? No. But anyway, yeah, the first person to propose working together against a frigging dragon is an orc. It's true.
It's incredible. This is like literally the first thing that like the thing going through River's mind is like, what a world in which our dwarven allies turned against like multiple people who only wanted to help them in order to further their stupidity. But a well done orc has like turned up to be like, have you heard of the benefits of teamwork?
So that'll be the running joke from this point forward. We'll say, "Well done, Ugash."
Right, exactly.
And Tawny will be like, "You're in rare form today."
Oh no! Oh god!
Oh no.
That'll be for us, not him.
Yeah, exactly. Right, you make all these jokes in front of him. He's just like, I wanted to say thank you for the cheer, Shadow Mage. It's good to see you.
The
Yeah. Searing strike, Tawny.
today.
Man, it's the burning question of the day is it'll be interesting to see these other puns. But we actually got the chance to have these two creatures. I'm really looking forward to seeing how you handle Ugash. But I also it was interesting to see the return to Witherfinger because she is diminished from when you saw her last. She can now only speak in dreams, and yet obviously still has power, significant power in terms of the visions she provides. But again, and this was the case I noticed before, she's clearly not an evil creature, but she has this kind of like, this is not a fun person. Like, it's the old lady at the end of the road in the creepy house that probably doesn't mean you ill, but like makes all these weird statements about you as you go by that are disturbingly accurate, but also frightening, that kind of thing. And so you're going to have decisions to make too, because the waste doesn't provide you like, oh, good, a pleasant fountain with with Galadriel sitting by it or something. Like, you're not going to get these benefits, right? So maybe this is the best you can do because goodness knows you have a lot of other obstacles to overcome. You're only maybe about halfway-ish through this journey through the waste. So you'll have to see who you actually join up with. But Man, it's so fun to have all these different aspects of this that you all have to deal with, even though I know that the feeling of it is this like dome because you're going through the waste.
We already got a dragon to deal with, and now
yeah.
we got this guy.
Exactly. Now we have the orcs too. Thank you for the tier 1 sub gift, Shadowed, and welcome back, Critchford, for doing that. Thank you, everybody. Well, let me jump to Amal first. Let me remind everybody, by the way, we still have about 5 minutes while they're doing outros, so you still have 5 minutes during which you can get to that $8,000 goal, and if you can do that, then we will have a bit of information that I will give to the party, and also this wonderful artist, my daughter here, will do a custom drawing, which will then be auctioned off, or basically we'll auction off the chance to get a drawing based on a giveaway in the chat, and the winner of it will get to ask my daughter to draw something specific, but only if we get to that number.
Have a drawing in the thing, not an auction.
Well, I'm just trying to avoid drawing and drawing is what I'm trying to do.
I know.
I'm trying to use my thesaurus brain.
Drawing for a drawing.
To drawing for a drawing.
Just call it drawing squared and be done
So
with it.
with all that said, Amal, again, really interesting stuff from the river today. I was interested to see how the river would deal with it because you had this very intense experience the first time around with Witherfinger, and I was really, I will say, rooting for the coin to direct you towards it, because even if it had worked against it, I would have, we would have worked around it. It would have been good too. But I was just really excited that you got a chance to have this encounter. How did you feel? And then, of course, before that, we had the chasms and the stuff and the business and the rocks and everything. How did you feel about today's session? Where will the fine folks find you next?
I loved it. I in particular, so I loved everything. I was shocked by the revelation about Lord Elston. I really didn't. I mean, I thought he was just out of the running, and that potentially if we'd taken another path earlier, we might have met him. But I just thought he was murdered, and the fact that he is actually alive in a hole somewhere is very startling to me. And like if Bolo decides to share that information, then River will be like, what? Of course we should go save him. No, I really, really loved it. I loved the reappearance of Witherfinger. She has been she has loomed so large in River's mind since that encounter as emblematic of the waste. That whole first journey into the waste, where that was the first time she acquired shadow points and was acquiring them at a fast clip. She just was failing literally every single roll, and just and doing so despite trying, and maybe partly because of trying so hard to just see something in the waste that was more than the waste.
Mm-hmm.
She kept trying to see what it had been before it was so blasted, or to see something in it that was, beautiful, that she could engage with and stuff. And every time just failing. And then with Witherfinger, it seemed like the best shot at oh no, look, something living, something that doesn't actually mean us harm. And then to have to be invaded by her in this way.
Yeah.
Was so horrifying. That was where the shadow point came from, actually. I think it was I had to roll and failed that roll as well and stuff. And just so River's memory of it is of just this kind of a kind of violation and a kind of despair, but also that it was the only thing in the waste that spoke to them in a way that wasn't threatening or malicious or malignant. And so anyway, it's been this thing, whenever she thinks of the waste, she thinks of Witherfinger. And I really didn't think she was ever going to come up again. So I was very excited. The River less so, but how very cool that we could get this information, and that's kind of awesome. I'm also I was glad of Tawny keeping back, because I think that made for a cool dynamic. At the same time that I slightly wish that I would have loved to know what she would have said to him. But yeah, I thought that was really, really cool. And everything else was awesome. I loved the sort of vision of Bolo leading us through picking our way through fire and rocks and all of that. I thought that was excellent. And yeah, no, I thought it was super great and very tense and uncanny and weird. So I really enjoyed it. And where people can see me next, probably. I don't think I'm. Yeah, nothing else. I'm going to be puppy sitting for the next while.
Nice.
Starting on Friday. And then and yeah, so that's basically my excitement of the next little while.
And the cat's excitement, they just don't know yet. It's gonna be.
Oh no, I am going to the place of the puppy to puppy sit and house sit and stuff. So Stu will be staying with the cats. I will be puppy sitting for my friends as they go away for a little while, and
coming home smelling like puppy to the cats.
Yes. This is actually also, the household also has cats in it. There are like 3 elderly cats and this puppy.
Okay.
It's quite a menagerie, but I love them all and I'm excited. So.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you, Mal. Good stuff today. And thank you. And we will see you next month, I guess, for this. Moving right on up the line. Tari, Inga, of course, has got dwarf things that may or may not have to be communicated to people. First of all, this potential ambush, whether or not Inga wants to take that seriously, and the implications of that. And, of course, Witherfinger, who has some suspicion of dwarves because, you know, tend to wield axes, tend to cause damage to tree-like creatures, you know, things like that. But, of course, she's met you before and remembers that. So there is also, I imagine, some mixed feelings, too, about the encounter of someone like Witherfinger. And now you have to figure out what to do about the dwarves that look like other ones that you've recently encountered. How did you feel about today's session? Where will the fine folks find you next?
Well, I mean, first of all, I want to apologize, like, for not really being there today. Not having a good day. Happens. Help. Cat wants to leave. She was sleeping on my lap, and now my formerly black trousers are now full of white hair. Fantastic. No, like, I mean, we will find out what will happen next time, I suppose, what Inge will do or not do. Possibly murder this orc right on the spot, because, you know, she don't like him.
Orc!
Yeah, basically.
I propose an alliance.
Yeah.
I will pay.
Yeah, basically. So yeah, we'll find out about that. Yeah, people can find me here for more games like these, and sometimes for. Oh god, now I have cat hair in my nose. Jesus. People can find me here for these games or for gamebook illustration streams, where we play Choose Your Own Adventure books, where you guys get to vote on things, and I have to draw them.
It's a ton of fun.
Yes. And other than that, please do go support the Kickstarter. Otherwise, you won't get the coin I designed. And that means I also will not get the coin I designed, which is a bigger travesty, let's be real.
That's the biggest loss here.
Yes. So, yeah. People can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Tumblr at TariToons. Yeah, that's me.
Thanks, Tari. Always a pleasure. And moving right on over, Brad, obviously an eventful session for Bolo, I would say. First of all, having to do the, you know, crossing over the dangerous lands, the stuff that happened with the dangerous lands, crossing over, dealing with the fire and the incendiary cloud type of thing, even the rock formation. So there was a lot that was going on for the guide, for the scout, one way or the other. And then obviously having this thing about you're the one who has this information potentially about Lord Elston that has been given to you as well. And so there's a lot maybe for Bolo to think about. Also the fact that Bolo was the only one who had not yet encountered Witherfinger. And so it sort of it was odd. It actually, instead of being more afraid, was sort of slightly less wary because was basing it on stories from Bilbo as opposed to, I met this creature and this thing is disturbing, you know, type of thing, which is what I think the river was dealing with. How did you feel about today's session? Where will the fine folks find you next?
Yeah, it was a ton of fun. I did like the this, you know, navigating through the fires and stuff and getting beyond and the weird rocks, but the star of the show was Witherfinger, really creepy vibe and stuff. It was really cool dream sequence and stuff. For Bolo, like it's the waste initially was something that like there's just sort of this monotone, you know, blasted land type of thing, you know, and also from his prior experience, they went there one at a time for a specific purpose, but now in his head it's sort of becoming a bit more like Mirkwood. Like there are sort of corners of the waste that have these little mysteries or things unknown
Yep.
that can be found and stuff. And so it's changing in his mind and his head canon. So it's neat to feel that as a player and character. So that was really fun, and also the surprise about Lord Elston and having this sort of almost like a patchwork approach to it, to attacking this dragon. Like we may not be able to do it on our own, so we may in fact need to rely on a number of different sources to be able to complete this mission. So it presents some interesting possibilities, but also some dangers. So it's a really cool mixture as we're getting closer and closer to the mountain. So I had a lot of fun in this one. Not much going on late in the next couple of weeks. Still kind of gearing up towards Gen Con, finishing up a book. I'll have more about that, and then again, just a little teaser. I'll be giving more information in probably a month or two about the 2 classes I'm hosting on Lit Reactor this fall.
Oh, right.
I'll be back here.
That's right. That's going to be, and that'll be a good time. And of course, you will be hearing more from us when Gen Con draws ever closer. We're not that far away now, about like 5.5 weeks-ish, something like that. So, but thanks, Brad. Always a pleasure. And last but certainly not least, Tren, Tani, of course, did not take part in this dream sequence, was watching from the outside. But Tani instead, first of all, the honey cakes, it was funny too, because you're like, I got these honey cakes. Now I'm only got half honey cakes. So try to, like looking at the resources. I was thinking about Sam looking at the resources with Frodo, and Frodo's like, how are we doing? He's like, we have less than we had, type of thing. And so Tani had that, to sort of keep in mind. And of course, Tani being the one who sees this orc not having had this dream sequence, so not knowing what the heck is going on there, and also having to sort of watch his companions, and again, having ambivalent, I would imagine, feelings towards Witherfinger. Also, like, there's a lot of stuff going on there that Tani got to see from a slightly more outside perspective, in addition to the stuff with the rocks and all that business that happened before. So that was interesting to me, as opposed to the interior dream sequences of the other 3, you being there in the outside watching, what they were physically reacting to. And then, oh gosh, of course. How did you feel about today's session? Where will the fine folks find you next?
Yeah, with regard to the resources, usually whenever I know we're going to be, going on some trip, especially if it's someplace like to the waste or whatnot, I'll talk to you beforehand about, I'm going to prepare these potions so that everybody has them, just so that I know that that I said that I was making them.
Yep.
And it doesn't matter whether they know that I have them. You have to know that I have them.
Yep.
And it's sort of the same thing with the honey cakes. I try to figure out how long are we probably going to be gone, and how many honey cakes am I going to need? I don't feel like he can carry more than like 12 to 15. Mm-hmm. So, at this point when we started, I was like, okay, he's going to have 10 with him, because he would have needed time to make the hagweed potion. So he didn't have time to bake all 15. And so I'm always kind of balancing, because I don't know what's fair, for the game, as far as what he can accomplish in the time that he has to get ready. And so when it was like, okay, so I've got 5, okay, that's half of it. Oh boy. So when everybody laid down, I was like, if they start dissolving and he pulls them out and they can't sleep tonight and they get more, exhaustion from it, I'm like, that's going to be all of them. In one day we've used all 10 honey cakes.
Outstanding work. Resource management. Yeah.
I do want to say, like, I put the thing that I one of the risks I thought of, like, going to sleep under Witherfinger's branches was that, like, I figured that there would probably be a trade-off of information, but then wake to ambush or something like that. And the fact that actually was sort of twisted around in an interesting way, with like an orc appearing who wants to work with us, is very delightful. But anyway,
same sort of thing again. You and I are in sync, today. Same thing was going through my head. I was like, okay, so we had a bunch of dwarves who should have been our allies that we wound up fighting, and here's an orc who should be our enemy and wants to be our ally.
Welcome to the waste.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, and I think that because I was, basically imagining as soon as he said, I would speak with you, that Tawny turns around as soon as he sees him, that the staff is up and he's ready to fight. And the only thing that kept him from doing that is when the river said his name at the same time he did.
Oh, that was I forgot. That was a great moment.
I was just like, what?
Yeah.
And that was the moment that kind of, freed the tripwire from snapping. It was like, wait a minute. Okay, wait a minute. There's more going on here.
Yeah.
And I liked that moment a lot too. That was good. As for where people will see me next, I don't know. We haven't planned next month yet because this is the last of these streams that I'm part of this particular month. So next month, whenever we have Eberron and Adventures in Middle Earth, you'll see me whenever that is. Until then, I mentioned this last time at the end of the Eberron stream, and I will mention it again now. For those of you who have not checked out the Kickstarter, please do so. If you can back it, great. If you can't, that's fine. Spread the word. If you need a better reason to do that other than, thanks, it would be really nice. Tomorrow's my birthday. Make it my birthday present.
Aww.
Yeah.
Birthday.
Rudnell pledged on Kickstarter for your birthday already, which is very nice of Rudnell, of course. But yes, that's a good thing to think about. And you can get more of Tren's awesomeness and more of Tari's awesomeness in the process of doing this. For a book, the original version of which, this version of which, Brad Bollier has blurbed. So there's just multiple things connected with these folks
and that
that are
Founder's
involved.
Coin has a beautiful hole in it, so you can wear it as a piece of jewelry.
That's true. In fact, there's 4 diamond shapes that you could do multiple. Yeah, no, it's good stuff. But anyway, happy birthday a day early, my friend. Thank you, Tren. Good stuff today, as always. And thank you to the amazing players. Chat, can we get some love for the amazing players of Tren Sparks, of Brad Bollier, of Tari Tunes, and of Amal Elmatar. I will see you lovely folks next month for things. Bye for now.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
All right. And that is going to do it for us here now, but it is not going to do it for us overall because in about 45 minutes or so, we are going to be heading over to GOG.com, where I'm going to have Pen and Pixels, and I'm going to be doing a little bit of Talisman Adventures as I get back into that adventure with folks. That's going to be a good time. And then this evening, we're going to be back here for our vocalists, but instead of having the full crew, because we had some scheduling issues, it will be, we will have Zach Clay, we will have Little Red Dot, and we will have this person, Little Arv, who will be on there lending her voice talents since school is out and all that. Lending her voice talents from about 9 to 11 p.m. Eastern. All of this because A, it's a lot of fun and I love doing it, but B, because we're trying to support this. Now, again, that is something which I know most of the people that are currently watching this channel have already pledged to and backed. So I'm going to say I am not speaking to you folks when I say this, okay? You folks have already been more than generous, and I'm really appreciative of that. I am, however, speaking to the folks who have not had a chance to back it yet, or people who might be watching this VOD, 24 hours from now when it's actually posted. This is going to be running for another a little bit over 3 weeks. We've had a good start, but we slowed down today, and so having people who can spread the word with hashtag Gray Assassin and or backing, letting people know, friends know in other social media forums makes a really big difference. And it is because it's a big project and all of us are invested in it one way or the other. Myself, a number of the people that are sitting in chat, including Garlic Tofu and others, Ballsteg might be here and so forth. I already talked about Tren. I already talked about what Tari is doing for this. I mentioned that Brad's seeing this and so forth. So there's a lot of people in the play that we do who are a part of this. And for all of them, and of course for me, because this also helps because it's my property, originally it's my world, that's what we're asking people to support for. So any support that people can give here is very much appreciated. So I reiterate, for the people who've already backed and supported supported and have done what they can. Thank you. And no pressure on you. You've already done what you can, and I'm really grateful. Thank you. Thank you. The Arvanauts came out in force for this, so I'm really thankful to all of you. But if you have not done so, or if you've just joined relatively recently, you're like, what is this thing? Please check it out, because that would be really appreciated. And spreading the word about it to folks is appreciated as well. As I say, I'm going to be back in about 45 minutes. The only thing I want to double check here is the next game, because this is what we're going to be playing next Tuesday. And that is right here, the poll right here. Right now we are sitting at, let's see. As of right now, we are sitting at a tie between Last Epoch and Unravel 2. So please get your votes in. I'm going to close this down in just about a minute because I need to eat and that I need to get set up for the next thing. So I'm going to close this in just a minute. Please get your vote in now. Please vote now. Please vote, 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 vote. Vote early, vote often. Please. And as soon as we up there, we are at 50-50. Please type in your vote. Please type in your vote at that link. It is free to do so. It doesn't cost you anything. Please type in that vote because I need someone to break this tie between Last Epoch and Unravel 2. All right. That's funny, Bruno. Okay. What? Plotting for everyone except, oh gosh, the deflector.
Thank you, Aruda, no.
Oh, the creepy Princess Peach on Paper Mario. Yes. That is fair enough. You keep trying to vote, but it only gets one. No, we got it. So we got Last Epoch. So going once for Last Epoch. Going twice for Last Epoch. And sold. Last Epoch it is. All right. So thank you. That is going to be the stream. That is going to be the game that we play next week. So I will, and I'm going to mark that right now. Get Last Epoch. Epoxy. We're going to get that. So thank you, everybody, for weighing in. And I will let you all know. We will have a chance to see what that looks like next week. But for right now, I'm going to head on over to GogCom and Pen and Pixels. And I want to thank you all for being here. And of course, thank my awesome, lovely daughter, who is going to be back later this evening. Thank you to my wonderful mods for their great work as always. Well, first of all, I guess I'll quickly say, follow the channel, do all the things, sub and all that stuff. But most of all, exclamation point Gray Shade KS. That's the thing we're pushing this month. So please, 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 please support that and let everybody know. Now, with that said, thank you to my wonderful mods, Arudinel, Dragonspear, Garlic Tofu, Triffity Mats, The Rising Tides. Thank you. So they are the best mods in the business. Thank you so much as well to my Patreon supporters and subscribers, Arudinel, Dragonspear, Garlic Tofu, Triffid, The Rising Tides. I know Shadow Mage was in here before as well and then zipped out again and gave a gift sub. So thank you to Shadow Mage. Thank you to Almadden, to Big Boss, to Crit Twitch, to Arenth, and to Trendane. Wonderful work as always. Thank you to my viewers, Oli Ivana. Thank you to 420. Thank you to Mal Omatar. Thank you to Asukum Munkasa. Thank you to Black Fury. Thank you to Erica. Thank you to Evaneo. Thank you to Hilness, who's a mod, so I don't know why he showed up over there, but, thanks, Hilness. Thank you to Jagtress, Lakaylee, Shamala, Sophia Fox, Tamasha Saka, and thank you to the Rising Test, otherwise known as the Rising Tides. Thank you all for being here and being a part of this, and I will see you folks in about 40 minutes over on GogCom. Until then, everyone, please be good to me. Oh, and a special thanks to my players, Tren, Tari, Brad, and Amal for being awesome. Now, I'll see you folks soon, and until then, everyone be good to each other. Bye for now.